big-timer, a social misfit. Clueless to the title of the biggest buskeg hits. Chuck Munchie's goons have the last say, so thanks for your time, Mr. Mayo. Danger likes his cold ones and he likes his bears. But this is Rochester, cute Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
He's critical of Sean, he's critical of Alan. Of course he married Sandy, cause she's Italian. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
We welcome you on into a very special afternoon here in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. It is Take of the Year Day on the Fan Rochester. We appreciate you listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey app, and our stream, which is up today on our YouTube channel and Twitch at the Fan Rochester. Like and subscribe while you are there. Gene, I'm fired up. Today is always an exciting day in the sports bar.
It is, as some shows just kind of do a run-of-the-mill year in review. We're going to play you some of the things you might have forgot about, some of the things that might have made you laugh over the year. And there's only going to be one we're going to crown as Take of the Year.
Now, we should clarify going in some of the criteria here, because to be fair, a lot of these aren't necessarily takes. They're not really like bold predictions. There's a couple that are like scorchers. But it's also like, this is just some great audio. This is just some great, sound from the last 12 months that we have been able to capture, identify, and prop up is just greatness. It's just like, how do you top what gets said or how it gets said throughout the course of the year? When you hear some of these, you'll be like, wow, yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot about that. That was really funny, or that was really thought-provoking, or that was just a good take.
2022 saw Trista Crick as our winner for her take on Philadelphia.
She really, really hammered Philadelphia. And I do believe I've got, do I have Trista's take on Philadelphia? Yes, I do. No, yes, I do. This is Trista Crick in 2022 eviscerating the city of Philadelphia.
They just stink. They just stink in every way. Like, they think they're a big market. The fans are obnoxious. The fans are the kind of people who walk around with dirty feet and slides, like with no socks on in the middle of the summer. It's just like the city itself I don't really like, particularly the food's not that good. Like, you go around there and you're like, you walk around the city of Philadelphia, and you're like, man, this is a trash hole. This is like a dumpster fire of a city. There's maybe like some pockets of beauty, but there's just nothing green. It's concrete everywhere. And I think they have a very high opinion of themselves in Philadelphia. They think that they should be winning more than they do. And, truthfully, they should all just lock in on the process, just being in a perpetual state of the process.
Really, really does not like the city of Philadelphia.
Wow, that was the one that just knocked us over.
Yeah. I wouldn't have expected it. When she dropped it on us, we're like, I was shocked. I'm like, yeah, Trista, you work in Philly. You do business with people in Philly. There's people that listen to this show that love Philadelphia, and you're just eviscerating this city.
And part of what makes a good take, Danger, could make you angry.
That's right.
And you and I got text about that.
That's
it was
right.
like, wow,
Yep.
okay.
Good take usually splits the audience 50-50. You get ratioed with a good take. It will evoke an emotion. It will make you angry. Last year, Take of the Year, it was our very own Maggie Gray from Maggie and Perloff who dropped this on us late in 2023.
Is it mental? Man, I hope not. Because if it is, that means that solidifies probably something that maybe Bills fans and maybe the organization doesn't want to face, which is the 13 seconds game might have been the best shot. And I'm not willing to say yet that they're not going to have another great shot at this and that they're not going to have learned from those mistakes in that game and can be better for it. I'm not giving up. This hasn't beaten me down yet. Hell, we're Bills fans. We've been through worse. And I think if a few things can break right and they can start peaking at the right time at the end of the season, why not the Bills, really? I mean, we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We still have a great defense despite some of the injuries. I'm saying we now, like I'm suiting up for the team. But I'm still with this team.
Winner.
That was our winner last year.
When she said that, that 13 seconds might have been as good as it's going to get.
Oh, it's on a chill up everybody's spine.
Cut, man.
Uh-huh.
That cut deep. It cut real deep. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not she's right. I mean, this season has been unexpected in a good way. And if it continues through the month of January, then we can look back at 2023 and Maggie's take on 13 seconds being the best that it could be for the Buffalo Bills and say, well, she didn't quite hit that one. Things could get better, and they have gotten better. We'll see if they continue to get better. So those are our 2022 and 2023 champions. I've got at least a dozen takes that we're going to share with you through the course of this afternoon as we look to crown a 2024 Take of the Year champion. Before we start dishing out some of this audio, let's set the table for this afternoon in the sports bar, including a visit from our buddy at our Odyssey Sports sister station, WEEI in Boston. Fitzy stops by. That's Nick Stevens.
Yes, so he does also the in-house PA for the New England Patriots. And if you think he's going to be pro-Patriots, I'm guessing not. This should be a lot of fun. We love having Fitzy. We talked to him last time when they had the Tom Brady ceremony where they retired his jersey, his number. So we'll be talking to Fitzy coming up in the 4 o'clock hour about this opponent, which quite honestly, Danger, we really haven't talked about the Patriots at all this week.
Not too much to talk about. We can speculate about what their 2025 might look like, but we'll get into all of that with Fitzy when he joins us right around 4:25. Later on this hour, we'll get a practice report from Dan Fates, 13 Wham, and Buffalo Plus. The team back on the practice field today. Deion Dawkins excused from practice. No big deal. Just unfortunately a plane crashing near his property, not on his. I think near his property is what they're saying.
Yeah, they're saying near. It was like behind in a wooded area between like his property and someone else's. So it's just adjacent to his property. But when you hear plane crash home, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Right.
Single passenger was the pilot. He was killed.
And unfortunately, the pilot was killed. So Deion Dawkins being excused to tend to matters at home. But we do have news on Buffalo Bills, injured Buffalo Bills who were on the practice field today. We'll get all of that from Dan Fates. Also some roster moves that were made today by the Buffalo Bills. We'll get into all of that and talk some Buffalo Bills with our buddy Fatesy from 13 Wham Sports and BuffaloPlus.com. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line throughout the afternoon. We're open for you at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. And because this afternoon is a special afternoon, we're going to shower you with prizes as well. We've got $50 gift certificates to give away to Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery. We'll do a couple of those giveaways here through the course of the afternoon as well.
The table is set for you as you can react also on X, the Fan Rochester being our handle, and maybe you have a vote here. We'll open. You know, the final vote has not been cast here, Danger. I don't know who's going to win Take of the Year.
No, we really don't know who's going to win Take of the Year, but I can tell you that this year does feel heated. The competition is fierce. We've got a lot of worthy nominees as we fire up the orchestra and we prepare to unleash some of this year's nominees for 2024. Take of the Year. Where should we start? Where should we start, he says. Let's start with the guy who made a recent visit into the sports bar, and after all the criticism that he's received, after all of the hate that came his way, as a true takesman does, he stands by his take, no matter how horrible it actually is.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Ryan Hot Take Hickey.
Trading Josh Allen for the number 1 overall pick here does a few things. Number one, it allows you the opportunity here in trading him to the Bears specifically and getting the number 1 overall pick. It allows you to get a quarterback that could be as good or even better than Allen is right now. I mean, you look at the scouting reports for Caleb Williams, I'm all in on the hype. I think he is going to, honestly give Mahomes a run for his money in 5 years to being the best quarterback in the NFL. You reset your timeline, by the way, because right now you are in a Super Bowl or bust mode. Even though you're not a Super Bowl caliber team, it is still right now Buffalo, Josh Allen, Super Bowl or bust. Well, now you get a rookie quarterback in, your timeline resets. Now, all of a sudden, you're afforded maybe a year or two to reset your cap and now start to make improvements to your roster that you really can't afford to do right now because every year you're going for it. You move off of Josh Allen's massive contract and now start to dig your way out of the cap hell you're in.
Who's applauding that?
They're applauding the boldness.
The boldness, the terrible take.
Boldness.
Terrible take. Timmy thinks that's a terrible take. Wow.
Nominee number 1, Ryan Hot Take Hickey. The Buffalo Bills should trade Josh Allen.
Every fiber in my being says no. Hot take Hickey can't win. That is one of the worst takes of all time, how this has actually turned out. Now that, hey, maybe Caleb Williams, we can't pass judgment on him, certainly. But, yeah, Josh Allen turned out to be the MVP, and the Bills are doing this despite having all this dead cap.
Now, we played a clip from our 2022 Take of the Year special when Trista Crick just eviscerated the city of Philadelphia. It was worthy of our 2022 Take of the Year. And we just played you the 2023 Take of the Year champion, Maggie Gray, with her take on 13 seconds. Maggie Gray, once again, is a nominee for Take of the Year 2024.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Maggie Gray.
Here's something I've learned about Eagles fans and maybe people generally from Philadelphia, but I don't like to bait with a broad brush. They're kind of miserable. I don't get it. They're kind of miserable sports fans, and they boo a lot, and they throw batteries at Santa Claus and all that stuff. It's not an act, guys. They're really like that. And so I think Eagles fans they're depressed right now prematurely. They don't think they have a shot against the Bucs. We'll see.
That was from January.
That was
Before the Bucs
correct.
dispatched of the Philadelphia Eagles. So she was taking the temperature of a Philly fan. They were miserable. They were not happy, and they had every reason to feel that way because their team did not end up beating Tampa Bay.
But if you hold that to the Trista winner, no, it's not. It's worthy of a nomination. But again, Maggie's not going to go back to back this year.
Doesn't sound like it.
No.
We've got a lot of good nominees.
Wow.
Now, this was a late nominee. I know you wanted to make sure that this one found a place in our ceremony, and I don't have all the bells and whistles for it, but we can definitely fire up the orchestra and share another Take of the Year nominee in 2024. This from Sports Bar regular, 13 Wham Sports Director, the Hall of Famer, Mike Catalana, earlier this year in the Sports Bar. Take of the Year nominee. We don't need to talk about anything going on in Major League Baseball.
Hold on, time. Let me go grab my ice cream and cotton candy as I'm the kid at the circus that's too excited. I'm taking all the insults off the table for Mike here.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Mike, can we not enjoy as Met fans? There they are. Here we are. Hi, we're in the last wild card.
Meet the Mets.
You know what's going to happen, Gene. They're going to fall apart come August. See,
First of all, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Stop here for a second. First of all, I don't speak like that, okay? And neither does Dan. Here's what we're telling you. You guys are just good enough to have your souls crushed. Because you can say what you want. When they're doing their little high school musical thing out there on the field, you eat it up with the grimace and all this stuff. You just love all that stuff. And you talk amongst your little Mets buddies about this team. They could be dangerous. All they got to do is get in, right? This is what you say when you have those little Mets meetings.
Said it earlier today on the show. We have
Met
roll the
meeting.
tape, yeah.
I'm just painting my dream scenario. My dream scenario being like after the Phillies did this a few years ago, the Mets in this expanded playoff, which I always hated, now will work to their benefit, and they'll get in the last wild card. They'll defeat Milwaukee, and then they will beat Philadelphia to advance to the NLCS.
Oh, this is sad.
It's not sad. It's
is-
plausible.
This is a sad reality that you're living in right now.
Now it all becomes. Now I get it. I understand why you wanted that included in our Take of the Year episode, because that's the one time this year that you actually were right.
Stop. I didn't think that Dan DeLorean would put my take in there on top of it.
Your
but
take was
it's
right. You were right. That was a prediction that you made before you needed to make it, and it came to fruition.
We nominated Catalana for the "You Eat It All Up." You love that stuff. Met fan meetings.
Yeah.
The Met Fan Society.
Yeah. I mean, it just paints an unbelievable picture of what being a Mets fan is all about. I think it's hilarious. Absolutely stunning. So we got that one in there as well. Let me see. We got a little bit of time here. We can rifle through. I think we can rifle through a couple more of these before we get to Dan Fates and talk some Buffalo Bills here in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia as we fire up the orchestra one more time. This guy is truly a titan in our industry. In fact, Gene, I venture to say you or I are not standing in this studio today if not for the greatness of this man. And while this may not necessarily be a take, it is some of the finest audio we heard all season long. And there's a take in there. It's just a misguided take, if you're following what I'm saying. Also has holds the distinction of being our shortest piece of audio in our Take of the Year submission.
I think I know what this one is.
Shall we get to our next Take of the Year nominee?
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Mike Francesa.
I'm sure Rodgers is going to want to get Bacteria involved, but you know what? Bacteria is a guy who has been ravaged the last couple of years by injuries.
Bacteria. I mean,
Bacteria. Right. And did Bacteria actually play for the Jets this year? No.
No, he didn't.
Did Rodgers probably want Bacteria? Yes. So therefore, it's great foreshadowing. Mike Francesa's spot on there, buddy.
yeah. More fantastic stuff from the legend. I'm having too much fun. Let's do another nominee.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Alex Maurlo.
Look at it and we'll address it immediately. Just give me a chance to breathe a little bit. It's been very, like Gary said, it's been overwhelming.
Oh, the audacity of that guy. Okay, do you remember the context of that one?
Yeah. The team is leaving. The Arizona Coyotes are leaving Arizona.
So the question was, hey, for everybody who put their money down on season tickets, how do they get their money back? Hey, just give me a minute.
I need some time.
Breathe.
Hey,
whoa, I gotta breathe.
Guy was an absolute clown. That's one where Bettman actually looks like he might have gotten something right because you don't have to deal with that guy anymore. What a disaster.
Pay that guy off. Go away.
Yeah, get out of the league if you don't mind. I can't help myself. What we're going to do.
Oh, come on. Give us one more, Danger.
Take of the Year 2024. I'm going to tell you right now, this one is a contender. It's gotten a lot of run through the course of the last 8 months. This is an off-season Take of the Year nominee from the NFL. It's from a leader within an organization. Somebody who makes very important decisions on behalf of their organization. An organization that has seen better days. An organization that will probably be firing their head coach. He might be looking for work as well. Off the top of my head, I think they've got 3 wins this season, maybe 4.
Sounds about right. Picking top 10 again.
Before we get to Dan Fates and talks to Buffalo Bills from 13 Web Sports at BuffaloPlus.com.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Trent Baalke.
We're not there yet. We still got a couple of days going through. Coach and I haven't sat down and gone through the final board yet. We'll do that on Monday.
Sorry. That is, wow. That got a standing ovation from the peasantry.
Right. We can't have a fart win Take of the Year.
It's not the fart that makes that great.
It's the
acknowledgement of it, and he just keeps going.
It's the no shame.
None.
Like none.
I am so powerful.
I'm gonna
let one rip in the middle of a press conference, acknowledge it, and continue on with my point. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing bit of audio. Not necessarily a take, although it sounds like he was talking out of his you-know-what. Then, in the way his team has performed this year, you could say, yeah, it's probably true. That's Trent Baalke, 2024 Take of the Year nominee. Wow, I feel like we covered a lot of ground here early on in the show. We have more nominees to get to throughout the course of the afternoon, and we will crown our 2024 Take of the Year champion before we close up shop here at 6 o'clock.
We will switch gears here, as they say. We will be talking some Bills coming up next. What's going on there today? We will talk to Dan Fates, Buffalo plus 13 Wham.
More Take of the Year nominees are coming up next in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Fan Rochester, the sports leader.
Welcome back to We the Hobby. You know what time it is? A little something special today. Oh, Nick. Is that a corn? That ain't no corn. What? That's a super corn! Oh, wow!
Visit us at 23 Arlington Street in Rochester.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester. Wake up and smell the sports with Maggie and Perloff on 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester, weekday mornings. And start your day with enough sports chatter to make your coffee look like a sleepy time tea. The Fan, Rochester Sports Update.
Deion Dawkins excused from practice today. A plane crash in the backwoods near Dawkins' home in East Aurora. According to police, the pilot was the only one in the plane. He was killed. Josh Allen on the talk of being the MVP.
Like I deal with anything. That stuff really doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to focus on winning the next game for the Buffalo Bills and being the best teammate that I can be.
From practice today, Rasul Douglas, Taylor Rapp, and Damar Hamlin all on the field. The official report has yet to come out. Dan Fates, 13 Wham and Buffalo Plus, joining us next year in the Sports Bar. Patrick Mahomes likely to start for the Chiefs against the Texans coming up on Saturday. The Amherst had their 4-game winning streak snapped. Syracuse once again the opponent tomorrow night. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
All right, let's get more from the Buffalo Bills as we get ready for Sunday afternoon in Orchard Park. Dan Fates, 13 Wham Sports, Buffalo Plus, joining us now in the Sports Bar as he does every Thursday at this time to talk about the Bills. Dan? Looks like those injuries are starting to get a little bit better, a little bit more participation from some guys that have missed some time, and it feels like bad news ahead for the New England Patriots come Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Sean McDermott said that everybody will practice in some capacity. Yesterday at the team's walkthrough, we're seeing some more players being at least listed as limited today, but Matt Milano, Rasul Douglas were both back out there. Curtis Samuel, who's popped in and out, as well as Spencer Brown. So that's all good signs as the team gets ready for the final 3 games of the season.
Dan, we've been talking about the Bills this week, and we've barely kind of given any thought, any mention to, gosh, could the Patriots actually give the Bills a game? Okay. Just making sure that we're not overthinking this here.
No, and it goes back to what we've heard this week. And again, Jen and I were driving back from Buffalo yesterday, and a lot of times maybe you just hear cliche answers. This is our favorite time of the year. You hear Josh say, hey, they get paid to play too, and they got some guys out there, and their defense flies around. Yeah, you heard some of that, but I think this game is more reflective on the Bills and focusing on themselves. They know that if they play their game, there's no way the Patriots can compete with them in this season. There just isn't. So I like the way that Sean McDermott talked about the championship mentality, the discipline, unselfishness, those kind of things. Like, that has nothing to do with the Patriots. That's looking at yourself in the mirror and making sure that you're worried about what you're supposed to do. And it's not even about overlooking New England. It's about, hey, if we're disciplined, Deion Dawkins was talking yesterday, if you do the boring things over and over again, but you make sure that those are important, and that's what's gotten them to where they are, just keep doing that. And when it gets boring and monotonous and other teams are straying away from that, their message was, we're going to keep doing exactly what we've done. And Sean on Monday talked about, how do you avoid this letdown spot? 14-point favorites against a 3-11 Patriots team. And he kind of talked about the Rams game and that it left a scar in them. And that he goes, if you kind of see the scar on their face, you look in the mirror and see the scar on their face over and over again, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that Rams loss, right? I think it was it's funny how quickly a win can mask deficiencies. I mean, you gave up a lot of points against the Rams. You gave up a lot of points against the Lions. I don't think the offense of the Patriots is going to be able to do what those two offenses were able to do against the Bills defense. But are you concerned about the amount of points given up here the last couple of weeks going into the final 3 weeks of the season and the postseason?
I'm not. I'm still always concerned about, can the Bills stop the run? And that was on full display against the Rams, and we've seen that bugaboo throughout the season. What I'm not concerned about is overreacting to these last 2 games. I think the Rams were just, that day, that night, they were going to beat anybody. It didn't matter. There was just one of those games for the Rams that they were just on fire and clicking on all cylinders. It didn't matter what the Bills defense did. And against the Lions, I actually really liked the way the defense played. And everybody goes, but Dan, they gave up 42 points. What are you talking about? It was only 14 points late into the third quarter. And yeah, like the game kind of dictates that, but that was 14 points against the number one offense in the NFL. That was without their two starting safeties. That was without their starting number one quarterback. That was without Matt Milano. That was with Dorian Williams going out. That was with Balin Spector and Joe Andreessen playing, and they still did enough. Like, I know that sounds like a loser mentality, but that week going in, knowing what they were going up against, the challenge of the defense being depleted and how good the Lions offense is, I think that those two early punts that they forced were big. And they knew that the Bills defense last week against Lions wasn't going to, quote unquote, win them the game. They were never going to only allow 10 points to the Lions. But what they did was enough. They forced a turnover. They got punts when they needed. They forced to flip the field. Little things like that I thought was a gutsy effort by a depleted defense. Ed Oliver showed up. The defensive line did enough. Like, I know maybe I'm looking at it as moral victories, but in that circumstance, I thought they did, quote unquote, enough. And in that spot, enough was good enough.
Dan, I think we should kind of flip the talk here a little bit because we always look at the opponents and maybe the flaws we think on the Bills on the defensive side. If you are an opposing defense when you're going up against the Buffalo Bills, who have this string of 30-point games consecutively, you have to be terrified. Like, is there any plan you could put forward? How would you go about this? Because if you want to blitz, Allen will find you. If you want to spy Allen, well, great. Then you're going to leave somebody open down the field. I don't have a clue how any defense can go about defending against Allen and the Bills the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, especially the way the offensive line is playing, too. I don't think we've talked enough about them because we've mentioned how good James Cook has been. We know how Allen's going to be the eventual MVP of this season. But when they blitz, they've been good enough at picking it up, and they've been good in the running game, and they've allowed this offense to stay two-dimensional for the most part. And then you just allow Josh to be that. I don't know what you're expected to do when Josh is playing this calm, composed, even the backyard football plays that when Josh rolls out of the pocket and he's rolling to his left and throws back to his right to James Cook. Even in those moments, in years past, guys, it would feel like, oh, boy, Josh, be smart. Oh, no. When he rolls out now, it's like, watch what's going to happen. This is going to be great. Like there is that calmness. And I remember talking about it back in like 2019 and 2020. And it's my favorite thing that Trent Dilfer, when he was on ESPN and he was giving all this insight, he talked about the difference between the quarterbacks can be compared to butchers and surgeons. And that butchers and surgeons both have important jobs and they both use very sharp objects. But he talks about a butcher uses this machete, there's flash, there's sizzle, and at the end of the day, you have a pastrami sandwich. But a surgeon uses a scalpel, and they're so educated, so disciplined, so precise that they can save your life. And that's what Tom Brady and Drew Brees and those guys were. Cam Newton was a perfect example that Dilfer would say that was a butcher. It was all flash, all sizzle. And for a while, that was Josh. It was a really great game with super heroic plays and highlight reel moments. But then they were, what are you doing, Josh? Throwing down the field to Pat DeMarco in double coverage. Josh is now that surgeon. He is disciplined. He knows he knows the answers to the question before they're presented and all of those things. And with the defense allowing 80-plus points the last two games, he's been saving their lives. Like, that's part of it. And that maturation that I've seen from Josh Allen to go from a butcher to a surgeon is incredible. And so defensively, how do you stop it? I don't know. You try and make them one-dimensional to some respects, but the offensive line has been so good that James Cook and Ray Davis and Ty Johnson have all been able to get going to accompany Josh.
Pat DeMarco, that's quite a pull, Dan.
Yeah, you liked that one, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Which quarterback would be the Swedish chef from the Muppets? Would that be...
Oh, that's Jameis. That's easy.
No, Jameis is the Swedish chef. That's a good one. All right, so we're talking about this Bills offense and this pace that they're on and how efficient they're running. And I'm going to ask this question not just for the rest of the regular season, because I know it's going to only heat up when the season ends, the regular season ends. Is Joe Brady with the Buffalo Bills in 2025, or is he head coach somewhere else?
Good question. I'll phrase it in a way that Bills fans will want to know. I don't think it matters.
Oh.
I don't think it really matters because that's how good Josh Allen is. And somebody asked us on the Buffalo Plus channel a few weeks ago, are these the best coordinators that Sean McDermott has ever had? And Jenna said yes. I thought that was a little bit of recency bias. I don't think that's the case. I think what Leslie Frazier did with some of those defensive pieces, turning guys into all-pros under Sean McDermott, and then Brian Daboll taking the raw Josh Allen. Joe Brady's benefiting from what Brian Daboll taught Josh when he was going through those butcher times. So if Joe Brady goes to New Orleans, and they'll probably average 17 points a game, and the Bills will probably next year, if Joe Brady leaves, will still probably average 28, 30 points a game, because they're going to inherit a polished, composed, surgical Josh Allen. So do I think Joe Brady will get interviews? Yeah, and I think he deserves it. Do I know if he's exactly ready to be a head coach? I don't know. That's up to another team to decide. But I'll tell Bills fans, I think you're going to be okay no matter what, because this is what Josh Allen is now, and I think that's really dangerous.
Sure about that, Dan? I mean, like I think to myself, and I hear what you're saying, but I also look at the history of successful franchise quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls. They've had continuity, whether you're talking about Mahomes with Reed or Brady with McDaniel or Manning with Moore. I mean, there was always a guy there year in and year out, and Josh has had a little bit of a revolving door through his career.
Yeah. Now, let me step back. I don't want Joe Brady to leave. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, yeah, I hope Joe Brady gets a head coaching job. That's not the case.
No, but I think it's a reality. I think it's a very real possibility that he is a head coach in 2025.
And I think we all thought Ben Johnson last year was going to be a head coach, unfinished business, wanted to stay with the Lions, didn't like any of the head coaching jobs. I think there are a lot of bad head coaching jobs. I think that was part of why Bill Belichick goes back to college. Some of those things. So it will be up to Joe Brady to decide. And we were talking about yesterday at practice, like, what's a good job that will be out there? Maybe the Giants? Is that the best one? I don't know. So the revolving door, yeah, but I think that's so important, Danger, early on in a quarterback's career. Like, now Josh is the system. Josh is that guy. He has rolled with the punches. I didn't like Ken Dorsey, but Joe Brady has been around. Like, whether you could Ronald Curry slide in and be the next guy? We actually asked Sean about him yesterday. We don't talk enough about what his calming voice, what his presence has brought to the Bills quarterback room, things like that. So, again, would I like Joe Brady to stay? Absolutely. Will I think he get chances? Sure. I think it'll be up to him whether he wants to go to a team that is in salary cap issues in New Orleans. Does he want to go to the Jets where they don't know what the heck they're doing offensively? Like, I just don't know how many, you're going to want that job. The Bears, what are they going to do? Because I was joking around with somebody yesterday. I go, yes, there's only 32 head coaching jobs, so I'm not trying to ever diminish that. But if you're a high offensive coordinator or somebody that's very thought of, you'd like to think that you're going to be around to have your pick of something, because hopefully I don't see the Bills offense falling off next year if you're Joe Brady and stay to say, hey, maybe next coaching cycle I'll take a chance.
Dan Fates, Buffalo Plus, 13 Wham, joining us here. News today that Patrick Mahomes is going to start. No surprise. Chiefs at home against the Texans. Before the Bills take the field against the Jets, you may already have the Bills locked in as the 2. In that scenario, Dan, or maybe we look ahead, because we're not going to talk to you next week, week 18, how do you think Sean McDermott would manage this situation if the Bills knew, hey, we can't improve our playoff position, let's rest a few guys?
Yeah, I think that would absolutely be on the table. I think we've seen it before that Josh plays, a series or something in a week, the final week of the regular season. I think that was against the Jets a few years ago, or the Dolphins. I can't remember exactly what it was. But especially with again, they haven't had any, knock on wood, serious, real injuries, but they have had some lingering ones. We've seen Josh, go to the x-ray room last week. He has been running the ball a whole hell of a lot more. This is kind of the empty the tank part of the season where it's like he wasn't running early, trying to conserve all of those hits. I can see them resting quite a few starters towards the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. It is interesting that Mahomes is going to play. Did you guys hear what Tim Settle was saying yesterday from the Houston Texans?
No, I missed that.
Oh, they were asking about Mahomes, and the Texans D-line, I believe, is like top 3 or top 5 in the league in sacks. And they were asking about him, and he's like, Pat better make a good business decision because we're coming after him. Yeah. And hey, he better be able to protect himself because we're coming, and all of these things. It was Tim Settle was a fun guy when he was here. It just is always surprising when it's like you poke the bear a little bit. It's still Patrick Mahomes and those kind of things, and we've seen him bounce back from these ankle injuries that he's suffered in his career. I just thought it was interesting for a team that is seemingly struggling like the Houston Texans to kind of give a little bulletin board material to old Patrick Mahomes.
Speaking of defensive linemen, I think Ed Oliver probably had his best game of the season against Detroit. And I'm wondering where that's been for the majority of this season, Dan. Is this a thing where you think Ed Oliver his manhood was challenged at some point before the Detroit game, and he's awakened, and we'll see more of this consistency out of the defensive line here moving forward down the stretch?
Yeah, I'd sure love to hope so. And that's sometimes where I always go back to it, that like it's so easy when the defense isn't playing well to criticize the coaches or the defensive coordinator. Why are you doing this? Like, especially on the D-line, like. Daquan Jones, I'll never forget it, said football is about a man whooping another man. And that's what Ed Oliver did last week against the number one offensive line, in my opinion, and was just pancaking grown men. And for as excited and as I was, ecstatic for Ed's play, it was at the same time annoying and frustrating to go, where has that been? Because if that's in Ed Oliver, like, where is that week in and week out? And, they paid him to be a cornerstone piece of this defensive line. Greg Rousseau is another one of those guys that they have to make a decision on long term. And we've seen those guys flash in moments. There needs to be consistency. And that's what Sean said. I loved his comment when he was asked about him. Ed was kind of called out by the media, stand-up guy, answered all the questions about his play. And then all said, but he's like, we need that consistency from him. Like, that can't just be that was a really good game for Ed. Like, they need 3 to 5 quarterback pressures from him a week. It's not, he doesn't need 10 every week, but man, he is a game wrecker when he's like that. And we have seen games like that from him. They've just been fewer and far between. So, again, I would look back to the coaching staff and things like that. That's also just Ed being Ed and whooping another man. There wasn't much scheming up for that. That was just Ed, hey, show us how good you are. We know you got to be better than this. And he was. So that just needs to continue.
Dan, if you had to make a list of best well-run organizations in the NFL, I think the Bills are right at the top of the list. You could say maybe number one. Yeah. Worst organizations in the NFL? Well, the Jets, maybe. Yeah. You could list others. Worst organizations in the NHL. How is it that we have this dichotomy? How do you explain what's going on with the Sabres right now?
I was just watching the Netflix documentary about the comeback, about the Boston Red Sox. It came out this year. It's a newer documentary about the Red Sox in 2004 and their comeback. And they talked about how, like, they just could never get over the hump. There was this cloud over them, all of these things, the Yankees. It just feels like the Sabres are cursed. Like we're reaching that point of just how do you lose all of these games in a row? They've lost it in spectacular fashion. And I was talking to Matt Beauvais from Buffalo yesterday, very smart Sabres guy. I'm like, to me, they just don't do any of the little things right. They're, as a guy that played hockey and called college hockey games, like their amount of turnovers that they have from center ice to 5 feet inside the offensive zone is mind-boggling. The way that they have defensive lapses, then then they have a play where they get Alex Tuck free or somebody's open and they miss the net. Like, it is just one thing or another. They feel like a snake-bitten franchise right now that just can't get out of their own way. And when you have Lindy Ruff, who's been around as long as anybody, saying he's at a loss for words about this losing streak, the whole thing is bad. The whole thing is bad, and I don't really know what you do to fix it besides blowing it all up and starting all over again, which they've done or tried to do several times.
Did you know, speaking of curses, and thank you for humoring us on the Sabres. I don't think we need to spend any more time on the Sabres.
Okay, fair enough.
That was
a curveball.
We say
curveball, Gene. I wasn't expecting that.
we call them the S word here. It's like cursing when you bring them up because nobody really wants to talk about it. There's more uplifting things to talk about. But speaking of curses, Dan, I brought this up yesterday on the show. Did you know that since the Four Falls of Buffalo, any quarterback who has lost in the Super Bowl while making his first trip to the Super Bowl has never made it back to the Super Bowl?
Whoa.
When you look at who's started at quarterback in Super Bowls from the Kelly era to where we are today, any quarterback that is making their debut start in a Super Bowl and lost, has not made it back. Not even made it back to the Super Bowl. And with that in mind, are you ready for a Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield Super Bowl?
That was good. Yes. Or who else could we have?
Hurts is out.
Yeah.
Goff is out. If Burrow makes it into the postseason, sorry, Burrow's out.
Yeah, you're right.
Rams could be a team. And of course, Mahomes could make it in. Stroud could make it in.
My head's like, I'm just thinking about all of the bad quarterbacks. I don't mean danger. Sorry, I was thinking of Rex Grossman.
Of course.
I was thinking of just some of the other quarterbacks over that time. That's wild. So Rodgers only been to one?
That's it. Yep. First one, won it, hasn't been back. Dan, trust me, I'm like, that can't be right. And you look, you go through it like
awesome bar stat.
The one that I thought was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. What about Kurt Warner? I'm like, oh God, no. Kurt Warner won his first time. He beat the Titans his first Super Bowl before he lost to the Patriots and then lost again to the Cardinals. So if you believe in those kind of things, if you believe in those kind of curses, then Hurts won't make it. Goff won't make it. In the NFC, you could get Rams. You could get Baker. You're not going to, the Niners wouldn't make it anyways, but Purdy's done. Purdy's never making it back to a Super Bowl.
You can get the Vikings.
The Vikings. Darnold could make it. Love could make it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Right.
That's awesome. That's a really cool stat. My mind's blown.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pencil that in as my Super Bowl prediction right now. Bills, Bucks.
That's awesome.
No Super Bowl prediction?
Yeah, I actually really like the Packers and Vikings. I think both of those teams, the way they're playing, I think that NFC North is very fun to watch. Outside of one team,
I was going to say, Dan, if you want to watch a fun game, the Bears are hosting the Lions Sunday in the early window before the Bills. I mean, I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, best bets. I think I'm going to lay the 6.5 with the Lions. Just being honest. Did you hear Dan Campbell's interview after the game?
Yeah.
Or his radio, and he talks about we were eating filet mignon for 11 weeks, and now we got to get back to the moldy bread.
Kind of like it.
Man, that guy's awesome.
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
That's great. What are you, Mike and Jenna, working on over there at BuffaloPlus.com that we can check out, Dan?
Yeah, I think Mike was on yesterday, was talking with you guys. The fact of I caught up with Mike Giardi, formerly of NFL Network. Now he's with the Boston Sports Journal. Great guy, and I caught up with him to talk about what's going on in New England, and he says he thinks they're the worst-run franchise in the NFL right now. He thinks that this isn't even rock bottom yet. He thinks they can get worse. He thinks that Gerard Mayo is absolutely over his head. He thinks that there's an upside with Drake May, but it's just fascinating for anybody that's for Bills fans that are listening to this who got their teeth kicked in by New England for 2 decades. And now the model franchise that they were, the evil empire, is now just crumbling. It is 30 minutes of pure joy to listen to a Patriots reporter talk about how dysfunctional they are. So I highly recommend that. And then Jenna, Mike, and I have our live show tonight, 7:15 on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, previewing, obviously, the game against the Patriots.
We spent a whole 5 seconds talking about the Patriots. I mean, that's how much we respect the opponent coming into Sunday's game.
Yeah, 14 points. I'd lay it.
Amazing. Dan, thanks for the time, buddy, and we won't get the chance to talk to you. Happy holidays. Enjoy your new year, and let's talk in 2025.
Absolutely. Sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
There's Dan Fates, 13 Wham Sports, Buffalo Plus, laying out some Bills nuggets for us there. I mean, this week has been remarkable because I don't think there has been a week where we have talked as little about their opponent as we have the Patriots.
My father pulled me aside last night and said, it is the NFL. This is a trap. I'm like, Dad, this is not a trap. I'm sorry. It could be danger, except right at the top, where the head coach and the offensive coordinator in public view. And by the way, Van Pelt took the high road on all this. Good for Alex Van Pelt that he's not getting involved in the fray.
Yeah.
But he's out of a job. He knows it.
Of course. Yeah. No, they're a mess. An absolute mess. And we've spent very little time. Although we will invite Fitzy in from WEEI to talk some Patriots. Nick Stevens joining us at 4:25 this afternoon here in the Sports Bar. We're going to get to some more Take of the Year nominees shortly. We'll take a break, but before we do, let's give away a free $50 gift certificate to Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery. Caller 5 at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. It's Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery, featuring one of Western New York's largest gluten-free menus. In addition to pizza, you can stop by for some of their legendary carrot cake, chocolate dreamboat cake, and handcrafted cookie selections. 212 Rochester Street in Avon. They're now celebrating their 19th anniversary, open Tuesday through Sunday. It's a $50 gift card to Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery to caller 5 at 866-4326. Good luck.
More Take of the Year. At the Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Deion Dawkins excused from practice today. He did return right at the end to address reporters. A plane crash taking place at the backwoods near one of his properties in East Aurora. According to police, the pilot was the only one in the plane, and he was killed. Josh Allen not taking the Patriots lightly.
Different head coach, obviously. Different team than I think we've seen the past few years. I think they're playing really good football, though. I think this defense, they play hard, and they've been a lot of one-score games this year that could have easily gone their way. So first and foremost, we got to have a good week of practice and put our best foot forward on the field on Sunday.
Russell Douglas, Taylor Rapp, Damar Hamlin, Matt Milano amongst those that were limited today. Week 16 begins tonight. It's the Chargers and Broncos in Denver. Patrick Mahomes likely to start for the Chiefs against the Texans on Saturday. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
The Bills return home to Highmark Stadium to take on the New England Patriots.
That's a horrible football team. I mean, it really is. And the Bills will have to implode somehow to lose either one of these games.
I know it's the Patriots, and the Bills, obviously, their fans and the players and that organization knows what it means to beat the Patriots, especially when they see a Patriots team reeling. But divisional game, and I just think New England's going to keep this game close.
Mike Danger.
I don't think the Patriots are coming into Orchard Park and putting up a fight. I think the Bills are going to demolish them. As they should.
Gene Battaglia.
Everybody's going to be ready to go. It's hard for me to imagine that for the first time since December 1st, this team's going to be home and they're going to come out flat. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And once you get up on the Patriots, well, then ride it home.
Take of the year 2024.
Gentlemen.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back to a special afternoon here in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia, our last show of the week. We'll be back on Monday with reaction to the Bills and Patriots. And speaking of the Patriots, Fitzy from WEEI, our Odyssey Sports sister station, Nick Stevens will be stopping by the Sports Bar here right around 4:25.
Fantastic audio we've had for you already here in the Sports Bar. Great conversation with Dan Fates, Buffalo Plus 13 Wham. If you missed that, just download the Odyssey app if you haven't done so already, and you can listen to that at any time back in the Rewind feature.
We're on X, at the Fan Rochester. That's Elon Twitter, a user named Rubber Band Mouth. Contest over. The Vicious Rip wins hands down on to next year. I mean, we can't call it after just a handful of nominees being unveiled. I can appreciate your vote for Trent Baalke with absolutely no dignity or class, just letting one rip in the middle of a press conference and completely owning it. Now, before we get to more nominees, Gino, I know you have a bit of a mind bender here that is Bills related.
Oh, yeah, they did make a roster move today, all right? And I'm going to just give you the teams this guy has been with, okay? See if you get it. I'm sure you'll get it. Okay?
Here's why it drove me nuts. I saw this, and when I saw it, I'm like, okay, let me try to reverse engineer this and figure out where it's coming from and who this guy actually is. Give the list.
Okay, I'm going to give you the list, okay, whether it was in camp, whether he was actually on the 53, whether he was on the practice squad. He has been with these teams, and this will have a point. Trust me. Ready? Here we go. Houston, Jacksonville. This player then goes to Cleveland, Indianapolis, Houston for a second time, Dallas, Atlanta, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Buffalo for a second time, Atlanta for a second time, and then Buffalo for a third time. Who is this player?
So I'm racking my brain. I see this. I'm like, oh, this is good. I like these kind of things. It made my brain hurt.
Again, Houston, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Indy, Houston again, Dallas, Atlanta, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Buffalo, Atlanta, Buffalo.
So I'm thinking of guys that have been with the Bills multiple times, and, I'm trying to remember and rack my brain about practice squad appearances. I'm like, what? And it's got to be somebody with that many teams. It's got to be somebody that's been in the league for a while. So my mind immediately went to Kareem Jackson, but of course that's not the answer. Kareem Jackson hasn't been with the Buffalo Bills, and I thought, oh, Mac Hollins has been. No, Mac Hollins was with Atlanta, but he was with the Raiders. And you didn't mention Raiders on that list. And then I thought, aha! Can I get a verdict on Eli Ankou? Because I think that's who we're talking about.
Yes. Ankou today released from the practice squad as Casey Toohill, as predicted, went from the 53, and now he's on the practice squad. Now the fact that you have Smoot healthy. I'm puzzled by this, okay? And football people might know, but every time I see Ankou on the field, he's that wide body. He's making a play. What am I missing here? I like this player.
It's a weird thing, right? Like you'll see a player show up for the Bills. There's one right now who was with the Bills last year, a defensive lineman with the Bills last year, and now I'm forgetting who he was. Who's the wide body in the middle that they had last year?
Tim Settle?
Not Settle.
Puna
Ford.
Linval Joseph I was also going to, but
right,
Puna
yes.
Ford.
Puna Ford, and I forget which team he's with this year. I want to say it's maybe the Chargers, but he's having himself a nice season. And just watching him this season with regularity, and he struggled to get on the field last year with the Buffalo Bills. All I can say with Ankou or Ford or anybody else, that you're like, we're not there for every moment and every interaction with every player. And I just think some guys probably get it, buy in, and the coaches like them. And some guys, maybe you see the physical benefits of having them on, but maybe they're not all there mentally, or they don't really buy into what the coach is selling, and therefore they become expendable, or they're just guys that are willing to move, that are willing to go from team to team to team as needed, instead of planting roots down and really working hard to try and be a part of a culture and a team.
Yeah, that's why Alvin Kamara, groin injury could be season-ending. Just grabs my attention because of
fantasy. Yeah,
fantasy. I completely distracted. My train of thought was Ankou on the practice squad. Look, any team can sign him at any point. So that's why practice squad players, they're there for a reason. So, but I was just kind of surprised. And part of me, it kind of admires anybody like that. Who's the quarterback? Josh Johnson. His resume is like twice as long as that.
He's got some XFL in there as well, yeah. All right, we're going to get to Fitzy here in a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about what's happening with the Patriots this season before they come into Orchard Park on Sunday afternoon. But before we do that, it is Take of the Year Day here in the Sports Bar, our second to last show of 2024. We'll be back on Monday with a recap of Bills Patriots. But before we get to that, we've got a lot of audio to still get to here. If you're just joining us, we unveiled some of our nominees last hour, including Hot Take Hickey's trade Josh Allen rant. That didn't go over very well. Maggie Gray, our defending champ, also made an appearance in the 2024 Take of the Year nominee special. Francesa with the Jets trading for bacteria. Catalana on your secret Met meetings and your prediction of the MLB postseason, which was actually right. Alex Muerlo, the Arizona Coyotes. Just give me a minute, okay? I know you want your money, your season tickets, but just give me a minute. I kind of like this award music that we've got going here. Sets a mood, sets a tone. And, of course, Trent Baalke, who we just referenced, ripping one back in April in the middle of a press conference, excusing himself, and then just continuing on with his thought. We're ready for more nominees here in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Charles Barkley.
Disappointed in New Orleans. Where they going, Chuck? Galveston. That dirty ass water. We're not even gonna send them to Cancun. We're gonna send them to Galveston where that dirty ass water be washed up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. Y'all we gonna send y'all to Cancun. Y'all drive y'all quit. Drive your ass down to Galveston. Come on, man.
So they're not taking a little.
Come on, they didn't even try, man. We're not getting them no plane ticket to the beach. We send their ass to Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water. Come on, man.
When Shaq loses it, and Shaq knows what he's doing, he's setting him up. It's just, they have to remain on the air. They have to find a way to get that show. That's the best thing the NBA has going for it right now. I'm not lying. That is the best thing the NBA has going for it right now.
I think the NBA will figure out a way that Chuck gets paid, and they're going to outsource it to ESPN. It's kind of a strange setup that they're going to try to pull off here. The dirty ass water. Like, I think of that like, oh gosh, yeah, at the brew house there in the month of March. Ooh, that's our town. Yeah, don't want to go in there.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. People go to the beach. Can't even go to the water. You think you're at the beach. Send them to Galveston. You just see the New Orleans Pelicans all hanging out at the beach in Galveston after their season is over. Great job by Charles Barkley and Shaq for setting him up for the dunk. Take of the year nominee. And I got to say it. I mean, going into today's show, I would say that was the favorite going in. That one has gotten some run. There's plenty of great audio from that show over the course of the last 12 months, but that one stands head and shoulders above the rest. Galveston. Charles Barkley, 2024 Take of the Year nominee. We have time for some more.
Let's do it, Danger.
This one might hit a little close to home for you, Gino. But I want you to know that at the moment that this was said, late May, from this moment on, fortunes kind of changed around this team.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Jorge Lopez.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me. Whatever they want to do. So, I'm gonna keep doing this thing. So, I'm healthy on whatever on whatever to do. I'm ready to come back tomorrow, and if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
He was not back tomorrow.
No. And I have listened to that over and over and over again. To this day, I can't tell if he's saying I'm on the worst team in the league, I'm on the worst teammate of the league.
Very controversial.
Yeah.
Very controversial piece of audio there from Jorge Lopez, the New York Mets, throwing his glove into the stands. And the fortunes of the team reversed shortly thereafter. Grimace was only a couple weeks after that, right?
That was that following week, yeah.
Yeah. We move on with another Take of the Year nominee, a regular in the Sports Bar. And we've, through the years, leaned on him for his keen eye on college football players, his keen eye on the NFL draft. And frankly, when he said this, I was like, whoa, this is a little out of character. Normally we don't get this kind of venom towards an NFL GM from this guest. But when we heard it, we're like, he's absolutely right. And this has some relevance given the news in the NFL of this week.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Thor Nystrom.
The guy who's running that room, Terry Fontenot, he does that every single year. He just torches assets. This is the fourth straight year that they've had a top 8 pick. In those 4 years, he's taken a tight end, he's taken a running back. Now he's taken a guy who will be a multi-year backup quarterback, and by the time he can finally get a chance, his rookie contract's going to be done. He's going to be closing in on 30. Terry Fontenot, in my opinion, should have been fired on the spot. I think that there's a really good chance that he has overseen his last draft process.
I think it's so great. It's so great. Give it up for Thor Nystrom, who just unloaded on Terry Fontenot of the Atlanta Falcons for taking Michael Penix in the first round. Penix, of course, will get the start. Looks like he'll be the start of the remainder of the season. And where Kirk Cousins plays next year, if he plays at all, I think has become the hot topic this week in the NFL.
Yeah, that has been a topic, certainly. And if we did this like 1 week sooner, funny how wow, they are going to let Penix rot on the bench here, but now he's getting his chance here. So Thor, just a hair off on that.
High threshold for pain. I mean, Cousins has been bad for the last quarter of the season, and they finally pull the plug and turn to Michael Penix here. He'll get his first start in the NFL this coming weekend. All right, Fitzy from WEEI going to join us in a few. We'll talk some New England Patriots football as they get ready to come to Orchard Park, take on the Bills in the late afternoon window on Sunday afternoon. Happy hour is still on the way. We have more Take of the Year nominees to get to first. This one kind of came out of left field. But it got our attention. It got our attention really quick. In fact, it captured our attention. It captured our imagination probably more than any other takesman or take woman in this competition. Because we'd only seen this person, then we heard her speak. And when we heard her speak, her words rang true. They cut. They're harsh. They're harsh words. From back in June, Take of the Year 2024 nominee.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Oilers Girl.
But I just wanted to say, you could be the most perfect, godly person in the world. You could save kittens from a river if they were drowning. Someone's still gonna hate you. So you know what? At the end of the day, I got drunk and whipped my out at an Oilers game and they went viral. You if you don't like it. Woo! Go Oilers!
Oh my God, I forgot about her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
I did not forget about her,
thank
Gene.
you, Danger.
In fact, I don't know that I will ever forget about Oilers Girl.
Wow. She has to advance to the finals here.
That was a moment, was it not? That was a moment. Oilers Girl going viral and addressing everyone. Message for everyone.
What is the big guy, voice guy do? Oilers Girl. Oilers Girl.
Yeah. Just make sure he gets the right pronunciation. I
honestly had no idea where you were going with that one. Like, what? Totally forgot about that.
We have a champion next for Take of the Year. And a long history of delivering amazing sound when the media has access to him.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Nikola Jokic.
Now, they can run the football decently, okay? So you've got to handle some of their big personnel runs,
Nope.
but that's not a consistent part.
Oh, boy, that's a flag on the play. Oh, we've got technical difficulties in the Take of the Year ceremony. Hey, look, it happens from time to time. Somebody streaks, runs across the stage, you fade to black, and you go to commercial. That one is botched. I've got to find the audio of Jokic on Media Day. I'm not going to say that we will find it. I will do my best to find it. Take of the Year nominee, Nikola Jokic.
This is not the one where win this parade?
No.
That
was from last year.
He was a finalist last year. Did not beat out Maggie, though.
That's correct. So that's a foul on our play, on our production crew. We will look to get that here before we make a final decision on our 2024 Take of the Year. We're undeterred. We're not giving up. We got Fitzy coming up in just a few, but we have time to run through our final two nominees before we get to Fitzy, including, in my opinion, the greatest golfer of all time.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024.
Oh, well, as a
Tiger
past
Woods.
champion, I'm exempt till I'm 60. Colin's not. He's not a past champion, so he's not exempt. So he doesn't get the opportunity to make that decision. I do. So when I get to maybe at his age, I can still make that decision when he doesn't.
That's Tiger Woods telling Colin Montgomery to stay the F down.
Monty, go away.
Stay down, Monty. I am the greatest of all time. You're not exempt.
Which you have the prim and proper media overseas.
You heard
laughing. You heard him laughing.
I think you could hear the clutching of pearls, the gnashing of teeth. An unbelievable dunk from Tiger Woods, Take of the Year nominee. One more before we get to Fitzy.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. John Heyman.
broken a lot of stories. I think the reason that got such play is because people believe everything I tweet. I've had 100,000 tweets, and, you get one that was wrong, and it did say appears, and I know I rushed it, and it was a big mistake, and I regret it, but it's 2 years later.
No regrets.
I think it's like at some point, I think someone could probably drop it if they're a nice person.
What I think is, one, it just like how I introduced you. Everybody in baseball knows who you are. So, one, it's a credit to your work, your following, and how.
By the way, I won't be going on with you again. The whole thing has been a disaster.
That's okay.
I can't even believe you said that, to question my integrity.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious, yeah.
John.
Asking me if I'm getting a cut because I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment. You should know that
It's
much.
Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I am not.
I'm done with you.
I am not
I'm
taking
done with
this that
WFAN.
serious.
Goodbye.
John, thank you for
I
joining
can't
us,
even
John.
believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. He's got to get to bed. I did not expect it to go that way.
Just an unbelievable performance by all of our nominees for Take of the Year 2024.
Oh, that was baseball writer waving his finger. Ooh. Who's going to advance in happy hour here, Danger?
Yeah, happy hour. We will crown a Take of the Year for 2024. I'll do my best to find the Jokic clip from Media Day back in September. And we'll wrap this up and crown our 2024 Take of the Year. Heyman. I can't believe it. So mad.
You don't know anything about this. You don't.
Just absolutely having his credibility eviscerated by WFAN. Fitzy, next. We talk Patriots. We go to our Odyssey Sports sister station, WEEI in Boston, in the Fan.
Why hit the snooze button when you can hit the sports jackpot? Catch Maggie and Perloff on 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan Rochester when you wake up through the Odyssey app and make your mornings as thrilling as a game-winning touchdown. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Deion Dawkins excused from practice today. There was a plane crash behind his property. Now, according to police, the pilot did not make it. He was the only one in the plane. From practice today, Russell Douglas, Taylor Rapp, DeMar Hamlin, Matt Milano, all limited. Josh Allen not really into the MVP talk.
Like I deal with anything. That stuff really doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to focus on winning the next game for the Buffalo Bills and being the best teammate that I can be.
Patriots today placing defensive lineman Christian Barmore on the reserve non-football illness list. We'll talk to our friend Fitzy, WEEI, coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Week 16 beginning tonight. It's the Chargers and Broncos. Patrick Mahomes likely to start for the Chiefs against the Texans on Saturday. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-432-6. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
All right, let's check in with our Odyssey Sports sister station, WEEI in Boston. What's up, Fitzy? We got the Patriots in Orchard Park this weekend. And we got a lot to learn about what's going on with New England this season and what might be ahead for the Patriots moving forward. And we're looking forward to the conversation. Buddy, how you been?
Yeah, instead of, I heard the promo on the way in, instead of hitting the snooze button, can I just hit the booze button and fast forward to after the game when I drowned myself in 64 ounces of fermented forgetful sauce? My God. You know, I've always wanted to know what the radio metaphorical equivalent would be like of getting doused with hot sauce and pile-driven through a Costco table while a bunch of people chugging from Fireball handles scream, "Take him down, kill the Patriots." And I have a feeling that's going to start right now and make its way all the way through till 7:30 on Sunday. And considering the way that we sat on Buffalo's head in the corner of the couch for 20 seasons in a row, we deserve this. So go ahead.
All right. Normally, we have a discussion about the opponent and ways that maybe they could beat the Buffalo Bills. I've yet to come up with any scenario, Fitz. Can you explain to us how New England is going to come into Orchard Park and perhaps win this game?
You know, the funny thing is I entered the exact same thing into Chat GPT earlier today, and all I got back was one of those funny faces where it's just like where it's like grinning sideways and it looks like it's overserved. Like, no, there's zero chance. Zero chance. Last year, that shocking upset of the Bills at the hands of Mac Jones, which I think was like Mac Jones's last win as a New England Patriots quarterback, was really random as could be. But your team was playing inconsistently last year, and there was something obviously at hand that was causing the Bills to not be able to play with the continuity and the emotional symmetry you guys are this year. By the way, shame on you guys for not winning that game, because that led to Mike Gesicki doing the worst gritty in the history of time. So, I mean, if anything, I would love to run it back and have you guys win that one in a time machine. Look, the best way this can be a fun watch for everyone, look, it'll be a fun watch for you guys, because if it's 56-10, you know, then Josh Allen continues to pile up stats in this awesome epic season as he steams his way towards his first MVP. And I call BS on him saying that he's only most concerned with being the best quarterback he can be. He deserves to be MVP this season. From that iconic moment where he threw the ball to Amari Cooper and then took the lateral back and then lunged forward, the photo of the year, which almost could be like the new logo of the NFL, he certified himself as the most valuable player. I just hope that the guy we believe to be Josh Allen 2.0, or like discount Wegmans Josh Allen in Drake May, I hope that Alex Van Pelt takes the restrictor plates off. No chastity belt play calling. It's a 7th grade dance every week with Van Pelt until the Patriots are down by 20. I hope he just, removes the Lord from between the two dancers and says, you know what, kid, grip it and rip it. We're already, I mean, they're 15-point favorites and should be 35-point favorites. Just go out there and have fun.
Fitzy, what of that? I mean, you've got the owner's kid in the box. You can read his lips. He's saying these are horrible play calls. You've got the coach throwing Van Pelt under the bus in the postgame. I mean, this is very unpatriot-like.
But, like, that's the whole thing. Like, what everyone knew the Patriots to be like truly was, it was the brain trust of the greatest evil dynamic duo to ever run a football team in Belichick and Brady. They were just in hive mind and lockstep for 2 decades. And, along with a couple of other excellent players like Bruschi and McGinnis and the tight end Husoid Fiesta from the Buffalo area, they were able to dominate or at least stay relevant and competitive. And always, they weren't just part of the conversation. They said it. They were the bad guy for 20 years. Whereas now we've just become like the three-legged dog in the background of like one of those sad commercials with Sarah McLachlan music, and no one feels bad for us. And I understand that's fine. It's
for just
terrible.
the price of a cup of coffee, you too can feed a Patriots fan this holiday season.
For just the price of one Labatt's Blue, you can help a Patriots fan actually go to sleep at night on a pile of their tears and Super Bowl sweatshirts. It's so bad. I mean, really, so this is what we deal with every day. I'm currently writing this weekly Patriots news and notes column called the Sunday 7, which is just like, here's what's going on in Pats Nation. And I opened it this week with an apology saying I wish I had something nice to say, but it's a grind just writing the column because everything's bad. Everyone hates the coach. Everyone says they need to fire him and move on immediately. Van Pelt gets criticized for the conservative play calling. DeMarcus Covington seems to be above his depths. And, of course, there have been all the injuries on defense, the sad loss again of Barmore, who never really looked himself when he came back from the blood clotting issue. And you really hope that he gets his health right first, and then maybe he can return to the NFL field someday. You lose your middle linebacker, who you didn't realize was as essential to the play calling and the intelligence of the entire operation. Owners are yelling like Statler and Waldorf up in the box at the team, just up there. Dad, can't you see how much they suck? Yes, I can, son. I know it's awful. There is no faith in any aspect of the operation whatsoever. And, you just look at the numbers, too. Like, I couldn't tell you what EPA means, but people smarter than I do, people smarter than me say it's an important stat. The Pats are 27th in offensive EPA, 30th in defensive. And yet the one thing that you can't understand why they don't lean into more is that when Drake May plays out of structure or when the offensive line folds, which it does every play, and he runs for his life and tries to make a play, then all of the numbers on the offense go up. So they basically should just let the Marauders in and let the guy just sort of have at it and say, this is all part of the learning process. Because isn't that how things went for Josh Allen back in 2018? Struggled mightily, but you saw glimpses of hope. Then 2019, he made major advancements. And then by the third year, you got him a legit receiver one, and it's been playoffs every year since.
Yeah, well, Josh, at least, we'll start here, had the coaches. All right, you had McDermott, you had Dable at that point. Go back to, like, this time, not this time last year, in January. Like the idea that, hey, Gerard Mayo, rubber stamp, this comes with the Bill Belichick seal of approval. He's the guy. Why didn't they give this a half beat and actually go through the interview process and talk to many candidates? Why did they just kind of rush it there?
It's a great question. Robert Kraft said that, 5 years ago on a team trip to Israel that he made the decision then that he liked the character and the cut of Gerard Mayo so much that he knew whenever Belichick was done, he would be the next head coach of the team. Didn't tell anyone else about that. It was a bit of a surprise when he was anointed last year I think they expected Belichick to stick around for like 2 more years, get the Shula win record, really turn things around and leave the organization in good hands. And when they were so determined to move on from Belichick, the GM, that they were willing to sacrifice Belichick, the head coach, I think it kind of shocked everybody. And in comes Mayo with minimal experience. He was a defensive assistant for a couple of years, obviously a good football player during his 8-year career with the Pats. It was stunning because there weren't many other options on the table, and he does like the legacy move of having somebody that is organizational familiar. But, Mike Vrabel all of a sudden was available last year, and everybody around here was banging the drum for him because they love Vrabel and they know he's a no-nonsense, eat, drink, sleep, spit nails football type of guy. And Robert Kraft passed over him. And now, once again, he's available again, and the reports are that he wants to come back here and coach. He would bring McDaniels with him as the offensive coordinator. Those two guys with Drake May would clean up the nonsense. No more crying about that, no more Gerard Mayo having to walk back all of the awkward press conferences and everything. It would just be, badass football 101. But I don't think the organization wants to admit to the mistake at this point. And so now we're kind of left with this absolute, it's an insult to dumpster fires to call this operation a dumpster fire right now.
Can I throw in another theory? Because you know what? When you're replacing a guy like Bill Belichick, a legendary figure, a guy who can't be replaced, it's almost as if you need the sacrificial lamb. I'll draw the analogy because we're radio guys. When Stern left and they tried to replace him, they tried to find a guy that we would all like. Oh, well, everybody likes David Lee Roth. He's the lead singer of Van Halen. How do you not like that guy? And of course, David Lee Roth gave it his best effort, but it wasn't his thing, and he couldn't replace Howard Stern. Nobody can. So do you wait a year? Do you have Mayo as your sacrificial lamb so that you can bring back Vrabel with fanfare and almost set him up for success, because it can't be as bad as it is this season?
All right, number one, funny that you would bring that up, because the David Lee Roth, like the David Lee Roth show was that was the Chevy Chase show of radio shows.
Yes.
My God, was that bad?
Yes.
Believe it or not, side note to that, I was working for the station that David Lee Roth was on in New York City at the time. It used to be K-Rock.
Yeah.
And then they renamed it 92.3 Free FM.
That's right.
I was the sports anchor on the nighttime show. So every day I had to listen to, you got to be kidding me, this can't possibly be a radio show. And it was. And he had like some guy playing music in the background. It sounded like a fever dream. I don't know what the hell that was. But that's a great point, that even at that point, like, they had him on a multi-year deal, and they were like, oh, wow, this is going so poorly that we need to stop this now. And we admit to the mistake, and we're not bringing back Howard Stern, vis-a-vis we're not bringing back Belichick, but we do need to get someone competent in here right now who's done this before. There's no way to know if Gerard Mayo is a good coach or not, because the organization don't admit to the mistake that Mayo doesn't have it, because what you have to say first is we damned Mayo by giving him a veritable rookie offensive coordinator. We all know Van Pelt has been on offensive staffs for years, and I know he's beloved in the Buffalo area, but he's always been the side man to Stefanski and others, never really his own OC. Rookie defensive coordinator, a whole bunch of new other coaches, receivers, special teams who haven't done it before themselves, and a rookie GM in Elliott Wolf, who had never been the point man before in the war room and running the personnel department. So, and our roster, my God, I dare both of you right now, look at the Patriots roster and find me 10 players that would start on another NFL roster, not named Drake May or Christian Gonzalez. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's rough. Fitzy, WEEI, our guest here in the Sports Bar. All right, you brought up Belichick, the inevitable question. I'll say this. Are you really buying that this was choice number one, that I'm going to go to college and this is how I'm going to, end my career here? Or is it just saving face a little bit that really no NFL team was interested in hiring Bill Belichick?
Oh, trust me, this decision was not made by Jordan Mason, his 24-year-old girlfriend who wanted to finish up her master's degree on the beautiful campus of Chapel Hill. No, this was an option presented to him after the NFL basically said, Bill, this is no country for old Belichick anymore, because he doesn't want to just come in and coach as much as he loves coaching, and he'll get a chance to do that. And I think he's going to be awesome on the collegiate landscape because, let's look at it, guys. Like, college football is actually now a professional sport with NIL and the transfer portal and all the madness going on there. So the NFL told him, look, you can't come in and bring McDaniels and bring Patricia and bring Lombardi and all the friends of Belichick. You can't run everything your way. We'd love to have you, but it can't just be on these terms anymore, because we saw the way things wrapped up in New England, and we don't want to have things go that way here, with the Bears or Jacksonville or whatever. Seeing him coach in college is a little strange, but in the ACC no less, which is like, a mid-tier conference as far as college powers go. That said, I think if you give Belichick a year or two, I think he's going to have UNC in the college football playoffs, and it's going to be wild. Like that first game day where next season or this fall, when McAfee and everyone are down there, going down and doing the whole game, doing $1 million kicks on the campus, and people holding up Chapel Bill signs, it's going to be wild. But it is weird. It's going to be something that it's definitely going to be that the whole thing. Like, I'm happy that Dad's happy, but like seeing Dad come to the Christmas party with like a new wife is just strange.
You do have a player on your depth chart, and you issued a challenge to us. There is one guy that you guys drafted that I'm a big fan of, and I'm just curious because I haven't had a chance to see every Patriots game. But how's Polk holding up there at wide receiver for you guys?
Jalen Polk, he's great. If the definition of great is hasn't caught a ball since summertime.
Oh boy,
he's been brutal. I loved him in the draft. Well, let me rewind back. I have a blood vendetta against Elliott Wolf because the Patriots were sitting at 34th overall. You guys traded up and got Keon Coleman, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I know he has been good for way more sound bites than he has significant game action this year. But I think he's going to be a good receiver. 34th overall, the Pats sit in the second round, and my favorite player in the 2024 draft is sitting right there. Ladd McConkey, receiver out of Georgia. And then Elliott Wolf, looking at the Patriots roster, realizing how bereft of actual NFL talent it is, decides to trade out of 34 and gets 2 picks from the Chargers, 37 and 110, takes 2 receivers, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, who combined to date have 21% of the receptions and yardage that Ladd McConkey does on the season.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that was a guy I wanted too, by the way, Fitzy. Like, I was beating the drum for McConkey to the Bills, and he was there, and they chose Coleman. Not that Coleman's a bad player. We like Keon, but seeing McConkey and what he does and how his game is translated to the NFL, he's going to be a good player in this league for a while.
Oh, he's absolutely. Are you kidding? Harbaugh must have just gone like whole milk 6 to midnight when he saw that the Patriots were going to take that trade, and he could just go get like a football guy who like runs routes precisely, doesn't drop a ball. Even his name, Ladd McConkey. I mean, my God, it just. I know he's not related to the great Phil McConkey, but it's just a football name for God's sakes. Like, it's just one of those things that like, and that's my concern with the personnel department and Elliott Wolf leading it. Again, for the Patriots, is that was a move one measure too smart. They tried. They had a football guy right there. Like, I had a fan stop me in the parking lot last year, and I was like, what do I got? Toilet paper on my shoe? Is the barn door open? He's like, no, let me tell you something. He's like, you strike me as the kind of guy that might be able to get this message up to ownership. He says, if you ever get Bill Belichick's ear, tell him, and sadly now Belichick is no longer the Pats, but he's like, just tell Bill Belichick, stop trying to be so smart. Tell the whole organization, stop trying to be so smart. Just when it comes time for April, turn on freaking Yahoo Auto Draft and take best player available, please.
Fitzy, our guest, WEEI. Brady, how does this all kind of play out, doing the 2 things at once? To me, the way I view him right now, and it happens with many of these players, once they get out of the game, they don't really have a clear sense of direction here.
Yeah, Brady, he's got a blank or get off the pot at some point, like, because the whole notion to me that he's so compromised. Like, he's an owner and he's not allowed to go to meetings and he's not allowed to go inside other facilities. And sure, he's only a year and a half removed from playing NFL football at the high stage of the postseason, but eventually his relationships in the league will dissipate and he won't know as many guys. And his familiarity with the way things are going will change a little bit. And as it is, he's already like been super vanilla this year. The only game that he was actually like really exciting calling was that Bills-Rams game where he lost his voice, and he did an awesome job saying that McDermott shouldn't have tried to, remember that 1st and goal play and they ran it, and everyone thought it was going to go in, but still you can't do that because then you guys didn't have the 3 timeouts.
That's right.
That was the one good game Brady had on the season. Otherwise, he's just been, this has been sort of like his Jordan on the Washington Wizards career move. And like, I think people would rather he either go full measure in or get out of it and then just be an owner. And it is weird that he's like a part owner of the Raiders as well. just, the team that he like ruined the future of, now going out there and, working with that, strange little sad carnival doll, Mark Davis. Like, it's just like what an odd fit. He is a terrifying looking human. Come on.
Well, the thing that I hear from Raiders fans in my life are that they're excited that Brady is actually going to be leaned on. Like, Davis is going to lean on him to make actual football decisions. And I guess, if you're Mark Davis, you would absolutely lean on somebody like Brady to make those decisions.
Yeah, but then doesn't that seem weird that the NFL is allowing him to make football decisions on a team he has a vested stake in, and then he's going to tell Mark Davis, like, oh, yeah, last week when I was watching, when I was calling, Texans-Falcons, I saw this guy. He's really good. We should offer him a contract. Like, that seems like he's, like the NFL's giving him pocket mirrors and allowing him to sit down at the $1 million baccarat table. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. But, then again, it's Brady. So it's just odd. Like, I never thought we would get to this point where, 5 years after the dissolution of the dynasty, Belichick would be coaching college football at a basketball school. Brady's ex-wife would be having a baby with the judo champ, and Tom would be a part owner of the Raiders, and Edelman and Gronk would be successful broadcasters on Fox. Though calling Gronk a successful broadcaster when he wrestles with the English language every week is a bit of a stretch, but that's all right. We love him. We love him for that, though.
And for a guy like you, the joy of seeing Bill Belichick find love once again, it's never too late, Fitzy.
No, that's the thing. It's never too late. I'm so glad. I'm so happy for Bill Belichick. My God, all those. Can you imagine all the sorority and the frat parties? If you ever wondered, like, what would it be like if Frank the Tank from Old School knew everything about football? Like, my God, just Belichick. I hope he goes down there and just absolutely tears it up. And there's videos of him just like doing keg stands and fireball and just like absolutely losing his mind down there, because what he left behind is the equivalent to colonoscopy prep on a weekly basis up here in New England.
Fitzy, I'm going to tell him our Belichick theory. The theory that we came, me and a bunch of my neighbors, we're at a grad party this summer. We're all sitting around, we're drinking bourbon, we're laughing, and we're talking about Belichick and his new squeeze. And we're like, can you believe it? Like, way to read the D, Billy. Way to go. Like, but what is it? What, aside from, the fact that he probably has generational wealth to offer, what could she possibly see in this guy with this age gap being what it is? And the theory that we have, and see if you can follow me on this, is that we talk about Nantucket here in the sports bar. Gene over here vacations in Nantucket.
It's exclusive. It's hard to get to, actually.
Yeah.
And you got to know.
It is. It's super expensive, too.
Right. And that exclusivity. But once you're there, you got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. You have to know how to explore Nantucket. And we just believe that Belichick, if you follow me, it's a little exclusive. It's a little out of the way. It's hard to find. But when you find it, if you can find Nantucket, it can be a pleasurable experience. And we just believe that Belichick, in his 24, maybe he took her to Pleasure Town, found Nantucket, and knows how to explore Nantucket greater than any man, certainly any dude in his 20s can he's got experience.
Right. I'm wondering if this is like an analogy or a metaphor for something overtly sexual that's going to get all of us thrown off the radio.
I'm not saying anything like that, Fitzy. Of course, I'm speaking of Nantucket. Come on. Where's
the man from Nantucket? I don't know. I can't figure it out either, because there were stories that Bill always like had a way with women. He must just have like a whole different thing. Like, when obviously people have talked about the fact that he concocted this facade that all of us got to know, media Belichick, the guy that would just get out there and, I can't wait to get to the injury report and, snort and grunt and grizzle his way through pressers and just be an incorrigible, evil uncle. But behind the scenes, apparently, like, he's super engaging. He's very funny. Like that, he's just got all this incredible charisma and swag, and who else knows what else he's got going on? But like, he's, he married and then just, all the other women, and then now with the 24-year-old girl. Forget about like what he's got going on or what he sees. What happened to her? I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. I just like, you see this 24-year-old girl and she's just like, oh, I just want to be with someone who just puts people in the media down all the time. I just want to be with I just want to be with somebody. I just want to be with somebody, who's just, interested in talking about nothing but football and, belittling people from ESPN and the Boston Globe. Oh, it feels so good. It is such a strange relationship. And at the same time, it's so much more interesting to talk Bill Belichick and his future in college football and the strange May to very December relationship he's having than the current state of the Pats. By the way, guys, I appreciate that we're 15 minutes into this conversation and haven't spoken a lick about Sunday's game.
Yeah, that's the way
that's
we
where
want
we've been
it.
all
Yeah,
week.
that's-
And I say we do it to not be disrespectful, but in a way, I know it comes off as disrespectful.
But it doesn't, because this is the reality. We're steered into it like this is the reality of where we're at right now. It's the Bills were. I opened up FanDuel earlier in the week and I saw the Bills were a 14.5-point favorite, and I was like, oh, that's generous. Not. I mean, like, I thought it was going to be a 20-point game. I did hear about. I was talking to someone who reminded me that back in 2018, was there not a game where the Bills played the Vikings and it was like third or fourth game for Josh Allen, and you guys were 17-point dogs? And did you win it, or was it at least like a good game?
No, they won.
They blew them out. We were shocked as anybody.
That was the Josh Allen hurdles Anthony Barr linebacker of the Vikings game. And, nobody had the Bills winning that game because the Vikings looked amazing that year, and they won that game. And the legend of Josh Allen kind of grew from that game.
Yeah, and, the legend of Josh Allen grows from games like not the back-to-back games in 2021 where he didn't have to punt against the Pats. And 5 years in a row, you guys won 5 straight AFCs, correct?
Yep. That's it, yep.
Yep, 5 straight AFCs, so for 20 years of the Patriots being the older brother that held the younger brother that was the Bills and the rest of the AFC East, beneath their posterior on the sofa while they watched whatever they wanted to on TV and ate all the good cereal. Now for the Bills to finally fight back and hold the Patriots' head under the toilet for a while, like, good for you guys. I mean, and this is what we've had coming to us, and I get it, I understand it. I'm here for my beatings. I just only hope that we could emerge from this game with some semblance of our dignity intact, hoping that Drake May does turn out to be like, if he can be 60% of Josh Allen going forward, that would be a massive win on the season for the Pats.
Nick Fitzy Stevens, WEEI. Nick, I know there's more than one that want to hear you on EEI. Tell everybody when they can catch you.
Oh, for sure. I'm host of the Six Rings postgame show. We will not be changing the title of that anytime soon. That's after every game on WEEI as well. Nights, weekends, and of course you can read my musings at WEEI.com, and the Six Rings podcast available on the Odyssey app, Spotify, Apple Pods, or wherever football talk can be found. Thank you, boys. It's always a pleasure.
Fitzy, appreciate your time, man. Have a great weekend.
Be good, guys. Happy holidays. Take it easy on us this weekend, would you?
There's Fitzy. Odyssey Sports Sister Station, WEEI in Boston. To call the Patriots a dumpster fire is an insult to dumpster fires.
We kept him a little long there, but my gosh, he
too
was
good.
on a roll.
It's too good.
That's actual laughter you were hearing.
Yeah. Really appreciate him carving up some time for us, joining us here in the sports bar. We got happy hour on the way next. Today, a special afternoon in the sports bar. If you're just joining us, is our Take of the Year special. We have to crown a champion. We will get to that. We have a round of shots coming up. We have time for your calls on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That number is 866-4FAN. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub at 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. 866-4326. And as a matter of fact, go ahead and call that now. If you're caller 5, we'll score you a $50 gift certificate to Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery, featuring one of Western New York's largest gluten-free menus. In addition to pizza, you can stop by for some legendary carrot cake, chocolate dreamboat cake, and handcrafted cookie selections at 212 Rochester Street in Avon. They're now celebrating their 19th anniversary. Open Tuesday through Sunday. $50. to Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery. Caller 5 now at 866-4326-WINS.
We crown the 2024 Take of the Year next. 9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Deion Dawkins excused from practice today. There was a plane crash behind his property in East Aurora. The pilot did not make it. Rasul Douglas, Taylor Raptimar, Hamlin, Matt Milano, all limited on the practice field today. Josh Allen not taking the Patriots lightly.
Different head coach, obviously. Different team than I think we've seen the past few years. I think they're playing really good football, though. I think this defense, they play hard, and they've been a lot of one-score games this year that could have easily gone their way. So first and foremost, we got to have a good week of practice and put our best foot forward on the field on Sunday.
The Patriots placing defensive lineman Christian Barmore on the reserve non-football illness list today. He will not play coming up on Sunday. Week 16 begins tonight. It's the Chargers and Broncos. Patrick Mahomes will start for the Kansas City Chiefs as they take on the Texans Saturday. Gene Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
The Bills return home to Highmark Stadium to take on the New England Patriots.
That's a horrible football team. I mean, it really is. And the Bills will have to implode somehow to lose either one of these games.
I know it's the Patriots, and the Bills, obviously, their fans and the players and that organization knows what it means to beat the Patriots, especially when they see a Patriots team reeling. But divisional game, and I just think New England's going to keep this game close.
Mike Danger.
I don't think the Patriots are coming into Orchard Park and putting up a fight. I think the Bills are going to demolish them. Demolish them, as they should.
Gene Battaglia.
Everybody's going to be ready to go. It's hard for me to imagine that for the first time since December 1st, this team's going to be home and they're going to come out flat. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And once you get up on the Patriots, well, then ride at home.
Take of the year 2024.
Ho, 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 gentlemen.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Happy hour and a special afternoon in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia, our annual Take of the Year celebration. As we are off tomorrow, we will be back Monday with reaction to Bills and Patriots, and we want to thank Fitzy from WEEI, our Odyssey Sports sister station, for the comedic relief in the 4 o'clock hour. My goodness, man. All you can do is laugh if you're a Patriots fan. Fitzy giving him no chance at all coming into Orchard Park. But good on him to lay out some of the problems that they're dealing with and what they're trying to work through and work towards in New England as they suffer through another losing season.
We have the audio from Jokic here, but Jack writing in, oh, my God. I can't believe during your 2024 Take of the Year segment you could have such a gaffe. At no time, caller and longtime listener, I demand that the full-time producer of your show is terminated immediately.
Okay, we'll fire him right now.
Yep,
Producer of the show, you're fired. You hear me? Empty chair that I'm looking at? You hear me? Get out of here.
Hit the bricks because you are out of here.
We appreciate you checking us out at 95.7 FM, AM 950, your smart device. When you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan, we've got our YouTube stream up and running. You can watch the Sports Bar on our YouTube channel, The Fan Rochester. We're streaming on Twitch as well. We had a little bit of a technical snafu. I will make the analogy that it's like a streaker running across the stage in an awards show. You don't really know what to do, so you kind of fade to black. But I think we have it figured out here. The Take of the Year nominee that we weren't able to get to before we announce our finalists and our winner.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Nikola Jokic.
First and foremost, this is now your 10th media day of your career. It's 10 is it's a round number. Like, what do you remember about maybe your first or second media day coming around here? Just has anything changed at all?
No, every year is the same thing, and I don't know why we're doing it every year. Everything is the same, completely the same thing. So.
Worthy of a submission, I would say. Yeah, good job. Nikola Jokic every year is the same. Don't know why we do it. There's our Take of the Year nominee. We weren't able to get to him in our regular portion of our program, but we did get him to slide in here before we unveil our top 5 and our eventual champion for Take of the Year.
Our top 5. So the judges have conferred. We welcomed your feedback earlier online, The Fan Rochester. But now Now it's time to whittle this down. And there's so much here, Danger. I feel like we're going to leave somebody out outside of the top five.
Oh, it's going to be controversial for sure. There's no question that it will be a controversial decision, but it always is with Take of the Year. I've got our top five.
In no particular order?
No, this is in very particular order.
Okay.
Our fifth place finisher for Take of the Year 2024. Jeez, I'm getting ahead of myself.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Mike Francesa.
I'm sure Rogers is going to want to get Bacteria involved, but you know what? Bacteria is a guy who has been ravaged the last couple of years by injuries.
That's Mike Francesa confusing Bakhtiari with bacteria.
Yeah. If you listen carefully to that take two, you can hear the denture slide.
Not the denture slide. Nobody wants to hear the denture
yeah.
slide. Let's go to our fourth place finisher in the 2024 Take of the Year ceremony.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Oilers Girl.
But I just wanted to say, you could be the most perfect, godly person in the world. You could save kittens from a river if they were drowning. Someone's still gonna hate you. So you know what? At the end of the day, I got drunk and whipped my out at an Oilers game and they went viral. You if you don't like it. Woo! Go Oilers!
2 words for Oilers Girl. Marriage material.
Can you imagine bringing her home there?
Wow.
Just if somebody hates you online, just punch up Oilers Girl and you will feel better about yourself.
Our third place finisher in the 2024 Take of the Year ceremony.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. John Heyman.
Broken a lot of stories. I think the reason that got such play is because people believe everything I tweet. I've had 100,000 tweets, and you get one that was wrong, and it did say appears, and I know I rushed it, and it was a big mistake, and I regret it. But it's 2 years later.
No regrets.
I think it's like at some point, I think someone could probably drop it if they're a nice person.
What I think is, one, it just like how I introduced you. Everybody in baseball knows who you are. So one, it's a credit to your work, your following, and how.
By the way, I won't be going on with you again. The whole thing has been a disaster.
That's okay.
I can't even believe you said that to question my integrity.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious, yeah.
John.
Asking me if I'm getting a cut because I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment. You should know that
it's
much.
Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I am
I'm
not.
done with you,
I am
and
not
I'm
taking
done with
this that
WFAN.
serious.
Goodbye.
John, thank you for
I
joining
can't
us,
even
John.
believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. He's got to get to bed. I did not expect it to go that way.
Fantastic. That's baseball writer having a meltdown
That
right
is
on the air.
absolutely right. When we joke and say baseball writer, that is baseball writer personified. How dare you try to have fun with me? How dare you question my credibility? Yeah, just insulting that you're not a journalist. How would you know? You have no journalistic integrity. That is fantastic. Now, critics of that pick at number 3 would say that recency bias played a part there.
That's for sure, but I'm also going to point out something, too. Part of that, I hear the voice of Saul Rosenberg. How dare you question my integrity? I'm done with you.
I'm suing everybody. I'm suing
done with you.
WFAN. I'm suing you. This has been a disaster. You've been very mean to me every time I come on. I can't believe you would say that about me, that I would take money from Scott Boras. I'm suing you for punitive damages. I fell down the stairs after this phone call and fell on my asses. In my ass, my shoes fell off. Hurt my ass pipe.
Can you believe it?
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
That is John Heyman finishing 3rd. Take of the year. That leaves.
Ooh, we have. All right, so Dirty Water has to be in the top 2. Tiger Woods was pretty good. The Trent Baalke fart. You got some things left on the table here.
There's still plenty of meat on the bone. Let's get to the runner-up for 2024 Take of the Year.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Trent Baalke.
We're not there yet. We still got a couple of days going through. Coach and I haven't sat down and gone through the final board yet. We'll do that on Monday.
Just an unbelievable performance. I don't know that we'll see a performance like that in our lifetime ever again.
Well, the extended applause for this too. They just love Trent Baalke.
What an effort, gutsy, literally a gutsy effort by the Jaguars general manager at a press conference back in April, where he maybe spent a little bit more time at the all-you-can-eat buffet than he needed to and couldn't help himself. But class, professionalism, and acknowledgement of breaking wind and just moving forward as if it didn't even happen. Magnificent audio. Our runner-up for 2024 Take of the Year. It's time. It's time to crown a champ. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 Take of the Year.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia presents Take of the Year 2024. Charles Barkley.
Disappointed in New Orleans. Where they going, Chuck? Galveston? That dirty ass water. We're not even gonna send them to Cancun. We're gonna send them to Galveston where that dirty ass water be washed up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. We y'all gonna send y'all to Cancun. Y'all drive y'all quit. Drive your ass down to Galveston. Come on, man. Come on, they didn't even try, man. No, we're not getting them no plane ticket to the beach. We send their ass to Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water. Come on, man.
There it is.
Charles Barkley could not be here today to accept his award, but he graciously thanks you, Danger and me, and all the listeners of the Sports Bar for his award.
I would be a bigger NBA fan. If the games could eclipse the entertainment of those guys, I would be a bigger NBA fan. That is the best thing going in the NBA. Man, I hope they figure out a way to keep that intact, even if it's just Shaq and Chuck, because those two play off each other like nobody else. Shaq setting him up for the alley-oop, Barkley with the dunk, and just perfection in execution. We're so disappointed in the Pels. We're not sending them to Cancun. We're sending them to Galveston. You could also, there's a relatability here if you're in Rochester. You could say we're sending them to Charlotte. We're sending them to Charlotte in that dirty-ass water where people think they're at the beach. You can't even go in the water. We all relate. We can relate. So Charles Barkley and the Inside the NBA crew, Take of the Year 2024. We're sending New Orleans to Galveston, Texas. Wow. Oh, I knew it. There would be controversy. We've got Rubber Band Mouth. The fix is in. I'm calling it now. He had a vote in for Trent Baalke. I think the greatest listener of all time. That's Chris in South Central Kentucky. No controversy. Dirty ass water wins. There you have it. Take of the Year 2024. In the rich history of Maggie Gray and Trista Crick, we now add Charles Barkley to the mix.
That is fantastic. Danger, who were some of the nominees that didn't get into the top five?
Whew. I mean, it was close.
Who was the first one out, you think?
First one out, I would say, was Thor. I think Thor just missed the top five. This was so out of character for our guy Thor Nystrom from Fantasy Life.
The guy who's running that room, Terry Fontenot, he does that every single year. He just torches assets. This is the fourth straight year that they've had a top 8 pick. In those 4 years, he's taken a tight end, he's taken a running back. Now he's taken a guy who will be a multi-year backup quarterback, and by the time he can finally get a chance, his rookie contract's going to be done. He's going to be closing in on 30. Terry Fontenot, in my opinion, should have been fired on the spot. I think that there's a really good chance that he has overseen his last draft process.
Unbelievable.
That is fantastic.
Others receiving Take of the Year nominee first place votes include the greatest golfer of all time.
Well, as a past champion, I'm exempt till I'm 60. Colin's not. He's not a past champion, so he's not exempt. So he doesn't get the opportunity to make that decision. I do. So when I get to be at his age, I can still make that decision when he doesn't.
Just dunking on Colin. Absolutely sticking his nose in it. Stay down. Don't get up. When I get to be your age, I can address it. But I'm a past champion, and you are not. Unbelievable roster of sound. A big thank you to Dan DeLorean, who is not our show's producer by title, but we treat him as such. He helped a great deal behind the scenes in getting us this audio and making sure that we could deliver our 2024 Take of the Year special for you.
Fantastic. Danger, great job, too.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's not easy, hitting all the buttons and getting everything and getting the crowd in and out of the sports bar for their applause here.
Yeah, no, I think the crowd is happy. Everybody's leaving satisfied. We've got a couple of controversial comments, but I think for the most part, not a lot of disagreement on the winner of the Take of the Year for 2024, Charles Barkley, on sending the New Orleans Pelicans to Galveston, Texas with that dirty-ass water.
Now, if you're wondering, don't they usually do this on the last show of the year? We've done that up to this point, but our last show is going to be Monday, and we anticipate some Bills talk and some Italian music perhaps on Monday.
Yeah, we better have some Italian music. We don't want to be hearing The Godfather on Monday.
That's what we settled on.
We don't want to hear
Bruno Martino.
Bruno Martino for Gino on Monday, on a Victory Monday.
Yeah, and if you lose, it's The Godfather, and we assess blame.
There's nobody this week that we've spoken to that has said that there's a way that the Patriots win this game, except for your old man.
My old man, it's the NFL. And Fitzy, who was great, joined us. He brought up, nobody thought the Bills would go into Minnesota. What was it, 17.5, Danger?
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous.
The Vikings were our Survivor pick. They booted us that year from our Survivor pick.
Yeah, it was a lot of Survivor. And we weren't upset about it. Wow, okay, Buffalo has something in Josh Allen. You have a head coach that is openly fighting with his offensive coordinator. You have a terrible offensive line. One of your better players, Christian Barmore, is done for the year, unfortunately. There's not much there.
I don't see a way. Last year they lost to Mac Jones after they spotted the Patriots 10 points. And it was so out of character. It was pre-Brady. It was a weird time. I just don't see a way that the Patriots upset the Bills in Orchard Park on Sunday.
Oh, my gosh. That is a way to put it. Last time the Bills faced the Patriots, Ken Dorsey was the offensive coordinator.
In New England.
Right.
When they played in New England.
Got it. Last time. Okay. Yeah.
So I just think that the way they're rolling right now, there's very little that I think is going to stand in their way here the final 3 weeks of the season as they get ready for the postseason. Now it's just a matter of how it all lays out. And by the way, that gets underway tonight with Week 16. It's a tasty Thursday night matchup between the Broncos and the Chargers.
Yeah, if you want Cincinnati to kind of go away, I'm going to suggest you root for the Broncos.
Broncos win, they clinch.
Yeah, Broncos are in, and then the Chargers could completely fall apart and lose out. But the Bengals have a little more say in that, knowing that they play the Broncos in Week 17. So I guess either way, you're not going to have a conclusion to the AFC playoff picture, but should be fun tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the short week doesn't hurt the performance of these two teams because we've seen some stinkers on Thursday night. Last week's Thursday night game's a little bit hard for me to stomach. Hopefully underneath the roof there at SoFi, you have no elements in play, obviously, and a good, well thought out game between divisional opponents there in the West, between the Chargers and the Broncos. That's tonight on Prime. And like Gino mentioned, we'll be off tomorrow, but back on Monday with full reaction to the Bills and Patriots, and we'll set you up for the final 2 weeks of the season.
We should get the shots here, Danger, because I got a lot here to throw by you here as some things happening in the NFL we haven't gotten to, including on any other day, we would just be goofing on the Jets.
On Woody Johnson's son, Brick?
I didn't know his son had a name, but when you thought you heard the last dysfunctional Jet story, who's putting this stuff out there, by the way? Like, who and why do they want this out there now?
Well, I would say last year, a little bit, right around this time last year, there was a similar piece that was put out on the Bills by our buddy Ty Dunn. And why do these things get put out there? They get put out there almost as like a wake-up call. I think really more than anything, it's got to be a wake-up call. Like if the organization sees this, unless they're completely oblivious, and they may be completely oblivious in their own world, in their own echo chamber, in their own isolated bubble where this doesn't permeate through, then nothing changes. And we just sit here and clown on your team. This is some of the details from this athletic piece are ridiculous. Frankly, just ridiculous. You get a 12-year-old to run the organization better.
Joe Douglas, I report to a teenager.
Just ridiculous. Oh. We got that coming up in shots?
We do. Okay,
we'll get to that and more next. We have time for your calls at 866-4326. Last call before 6 o'clock as well, 585-866-4FAN.
Sports Update.
Bills are getting healthier. Rasul Douglas, Taylor Rapp, Damar Hamlin, Matt Milano were all out there on a limited basis during practice. Josh Allen, he's not into talking about the MVP.
Like I deal with anything. That stuff really doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to focus on winning the next game for the Buffalo Bills and being the best teammate that I can be.
Deion Dawkins excused from practice today. There was a plane crash in the backwoods behind his property. According to police, the pilot was the only one in the plane. He was killed. On the Patriots side of things, the Patriots placing defensive lineman Christian Barmore on the reserve non-football list today. We will have the Bills and Patriots coming up on Sunday. Our pregame coverage will begin at noon. Week 16 begins tonight. It's the Chargers and Broncos. Patrick Mahomes likely to start for the Chiefs against the Texans on Saturday. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
If you want pure, unfiltered, unadulterated sports, you've come to the right place. 95.7 FM, The Fan, Rochester.
It's time for a round of shots in the sports bar.
Yeah, so we're back on Monday for the sports bar, talk about Bills Patriots. So, Danger, this is our last chance to talk some college football playoff for the first time we're getting these playoff games. First up tomorrow night, it's Indiana Notre Dame. That's 8 o'clock on ABC. 2 games on TNT and Max on Saturday. From Happy Valley, Penn State, Southern Methodist at noon, followed by Texas and Clemson at 4. 8 p.m. on Saturday, ABC has Tennessee and Ohio State. Danger, who you got?
I kind of like tailing PJ in this. I like everything that PJ said when we had PJ Glasser on with us earlier this week. If you missed that conversation, by the way, you can find it in the free-to-download Odyssey app or wherever you pod. Just search out the sports bar. So if I remember correctly, I think he said Indiana, Notre Dame close. He likes Indiana plus the 7 points that they're getting right now.
Mm-hmm.
He said that SMU could upset Penn State. I think Penn State wins that game, but I like SMU with 8.5 points.
Go back to Indiana and Notre Dame. Who wins outright, though?
Notre Dame.
Okay.
Texas is going to take care of Clemson. And his bet on that one was take the team total under for Clemson, which I believe was set at 20.5 earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy that. I think that's good, and I think Texas wins that game as well. Tennessee, Ohio State, man. I mean, I feel like Ohio State wins this game, but again, 7.5 points for Tennessee feels like a lot of points.
The only thing that seems pretty clear, Texas is going to, like, at home, it's going to be a party. Like, okay, Clemson, be on your way here. Give me Ohio State to cover. Give me Indiana to win outright.
Ooh.
Give me Southern Methodist, SMU, the Mustangs to win outright. What makes anybody believe that James Franklin is going to win a meaningful game? Please answer that question.
All right, so let's take that a little bit further now. If James Franklin loses to SMU at home in his first college football playoff appearance, does Penn State move on? Do they move on from Franklin?
They should.
Amazing. And I think you could have the same conversation about Ohio State with Ryan Day. I mean, the last time we saw Ohio State, they were losing at home to Michigan. And if Tennessee, a good team, if Tennessee comes into the shoe and upsets you, what does that mean for the future of Ryan Day? Just overall, just a compelling weekend of college football. Just football nirvana here between the NFL and college football starting tonight.
Here's a footnote. Remember Ron Rakuya? He was the guy in charge of Pagula Sports and Entertainment. He was let go.
Fired, yeah.
Yeah, as Tim Graham from The Athletic once told us, he got fired because Terry Pagula didn't like him.
Wait, if that's enough to get a guy fired, then why does he have the Sabres still?
I
can't like what he sees out of these guys.
Why didn't he like him? I think I have a theory, but I won't share it.
Very good.
Rakuya has a new job. He's the senior advisor to USA Football. What is USA Football? That's the outfit in charge of selecting the international teams, the governing body that'll be in charge of selecting the flag football teams for the 2028 Olympics. Is this where ex-Bills executives go? They go to different football entities and they can't find another job in the NFL. They get Russ Brandon.
It's totally fine. Good for him. He found a job. It's in football, and this is an important job, right? Like, this is a big deal for American football. The 2028 Olympics, when you have flag football on display for the rest of the world, I think, fair to say that Team USA should clean up in flag football competition in the 2028 Olympics. But at minimum, you see the NFL leaning into this. They want this to become a more global product. American football may not be for everybody across the globe, but flag football, less contact. This is interesting, and I think for Rakuya, good for him that he was able to land on his feet and find a gig, a meaningful gig that's still involved in the game of football.
So what are the odds of this happening? Washington Commanders kicker Zane Gonzalez missed practice on Wednesday because his wife was in labor. The backup kicker on the Commanders is Greg Joseph. Joseph missed practice on Wednesday because his wife was in labor.
Jeez.
I'm checking right now just to see if wife and kids are okay.
I mean, through the interview process, can we start asking if these guys have had a vasectomy? Can we get a kicker in there that's not going to knock somebody up?
What happened 9 months ago? I don't know. Anyhow, we can agree the Pro Bowl is a flawed event, but it's never going to go away, right? As long as we tune in, as long as tickets are sold, it'll be here. But to try to keep things fresh, they're adding 2 new activities this year. Helmet Harmony.
Oh, I thought you were going to say musical chairs. Okay.
Helmet Harmony is a game.
Sounds like musical chairs.
Pretty close. It's a game show that will test players' knowledge on their teammates. And Punt Perfect features 1 punter and 1 non-punter. The dating game and a punting competition. That's where we're at.
Okay, tune in next year for the Pro Bowl games. We're going to have an operation tournament. We're going to see who can play the game of operation without making the cardboard's nose light up. What else are we going to get? Monopoly tournaments?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Hula hoop. What are we going to do here?
Hula hoop.
Yeah.
Good.
Who can keep it up longest?
Hacky sack. Who can do? I mean, cornhole's already a competition, right? They already throw bags.
Yes.
That's already part of it, right? So yeah. What else can we do? Let's get what's the frisbee game? Why am I blanking on the frisbee game? That you throw can jam. Let's get can jam in there, the whole thing. Right. Ladder ball, why not?
The baseball portion of our shot segment. Third baseman Nolan Arenado used his no-trade clause to block a trade to the Houston Astros. Reports are the Cardinals and Astros still hopeful the deal will go through. Translation, if the Astros want to sweeten the pot for Arenado, he might just say yes.
Okay. Yeah, the Astros looking to get back some firepower here, right? I mean, the Tucker going to the Cubs, they got a little bit of a hole, so why not make that deal? Arenado's a name that we got to get on the bracket for Major League Baseball for March Baltimore accent bracket. Yeah,
that's what we should do in our downtime. Just think of names like that, and we'll come back and spring them on PJ. The threat of the 76ers moving has come to an end. Philadelphia's city council today approving their share of the financing for a $1.3 billion development. At the center of this is what they're calling right now 76th Place. That's the new arena for the team. The Sixers had been entertaining a move to New Jersey, but that's not happening now. The new arena in downtown Philly should open in 2031.
Wow. That's a big moves happening there in the city of Philadelphia. I wonder what Trista Crick and Maggie Gray would have to say about this kind of progress in the city of brotherly love.
I mean, it's all concrete and there's no – I mean, there are pockets of beauty, I suppose.
No character. People just walking around without their socks on, their dirty feet and their slides, trusting the process.
The food's not that good.
Yeah.
More great news for the Buffalo Sabres. Sarcasm. Jordan Greenway is going to need surgery pertaining to an undisclosed issue in his mid-body. Head coach Lindy Ruff says it's not season-ending. The Sabres look to avoid a 12th straight loss tomorrow night when they host Toronto, but it'll feel like a road game for sure.
I did some scouting. I watched Toronto and Dallas last night, and Toronto is, as you would see from their place in the standings, they're a real good team. So look for a 12th straight loss for the Sabres tomorrow night. But listen anyways.
Boston on Saturday night, and that'll be another one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's really great, guys. Yeah. Really great.
Fantastic. Yep. A game we'll be paying attention to this weekend is Falcons-Giants. No, not because of Tommy DeVito.
I'll be paying attention to it because of Tommy DeVito. Because he's Italian, Gino.
Danger, he's still in concussion protocol. Not clear. Oh. All right, so maybe. But it's Falcon quarterback Michael Penix making his first NFL start. And how did he get the news he was going to go in? The phone call came in while he and his girlfriend were at Costco. Penix was in the middle of eating one of their hot dogs. I've never tried a Costco hot dog, so I can't be critical.
Are we into confessions in the sports bar?
You've never been to Costco?
I've never been to Costco.
No.
I have not set foot into Costco. I mean, I'm such a BJ's Wholesale Club guy that feels like I'd be cheating on my wife. I just can't do it. I can't. First of all, from where I am in East Hilton, I can't. That's a trek, right? Henrietta's a bit of a trek. I've got a system so down at BJ's. And by the way, I say this often. If you can, in your life, find something that you love as much as Rochester West Siders love saving 10 cents a gallon on gas, man, that's my goal for you and for everybody else, because every time I go to fuel up, there is a line all the way around the parking lot, out into the street. It is bedlam.
Okay. First of all, like, you're going at the wrong times. Like, if you're planning on a Friday, do not go to BJ's there. All right? It's like that is
there are no good times.
No.
Every time I go, there's a line. Every time.
First thing in the morning or on your ride home. But it like, weekend, forget it.
Gino, I could go on my ride home tonight, and I'm telling you, there will be a line for 10 cents off on a gallon of gas. But my system is so down. I've got it so down to a science. I'm not even setting foot in there anymore. I just pull up. They give me my stuff, my pack of 72 rolls of toilet paper, and I'm off. I'm on my way. Completely seamless. I feel like going to Costco would just completely ruin and break the trust that I've built over the years with my wholesale club.
I imagine somebody right now getting their career started in their 20s, listening to you and I wax poetic about the wholesale club and being like, what a bunch of losers these guys. I would say to you,
Michael Penix was having a dog at Costco.
Michael Penix knows.
Get with the program.
Be like Michael Penix.
Yeah, get with the program.
Finally, this courtesy of The Athletic and Diana Russidi. I'm just going to read this straight, Danger. This past Halloween, the Jets registered their first victory since Robert Saleh's firing 4 weeks earlier. It was a significant moment for the struggling team. Aaron Rodgers walked into an energized locker room with a game ball in hand. Stop. I think this is the Houston game, right?
Yeah.
It was expected that he give the ball to Jeff Ulbrich, a customary gesture when the coach gets his first NFL win.
No question.
But before Rodgers could speak, Woody Johnson's teenage son, Brick, took another game ball and awarded it to wide receiver Garrett Wilson. In exchange, the owner's son later posted on Instagram, "That was one of the best bleeping catches I've ever seen in my entire life." Johnson said in reference to an acrobatic catch Wilson made in the game. "Garrett bleeping Wilson," said the teenager. Woody then gave Ulbrich the ball to give to Rodgers, had been holding. Multiple players said the energy felt drained out of the room.
All right, so a few questions you might not be able to answer. So is Brick Woody Johnson's son or grandson?
Son.
Teenager?
Yes.
How old is Woody Johnson?
Danger, you can have kids. So I don't. This is his son.
That's wild to me. 1, 2. His name is Brick. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything other than Steve Carell's character from Anchorman in the locker room. Just pointing at things randomly. I love lamp. I love athletic tape. Loud noises. Yeah. And handing out a game ball. That's good. That's how you build a culture.
The other part of this, too, and I don't know if it came from Brick, but it definitely ultimately came from Woody Johnson, that the Jets had a deal to actually trade for Jerry Jeudy.
This is great.
Woody Johnson nixed the trade because Jerry Jeudy, in his opinion, his Madden rating was too low.
Did he get Madden and PFF confused? Or does he just not want to look at the actual talent? Not mistaken. I think Jeudy has 1,000 yards receiving on the year in Cleveland with what they've got going on. I venture to guess he'd probably fit in all right. He would have been a better pickup than Mike Williams, certainly, you would think. Fantastic. So you got your kid looking at Madden ratings. It's a toy. It's literally a toy for his son. It's a toy for his son to play with.
Joe Douglas is part of this. It was to have said, Joe Douglas, the former GM, just think about how everybody's gone. Coach, the GM.
And there's nothing stopping any of them from talking about the dysfunction that existed while they were there.
Said, I answered to a teenager.
He said that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This is like some sort of bad movie, right? Where you got to you know what you're doing.
Do you remember the movie The Toy? That's what I'm envisioning.
Yes,
now. With
yeah.
Rest in peace, Richard Pryor.
Yes.
And Jackie Gleason. And Gleason's this, racist billionaire, and his grandson is visiting, and he gives him a toy. He buys him Richard Pryor. This movie does not hold up, by the way, in 2024. I don't suggest you watch it now if you have any sort of
even though it's Richard Pryor, great comic. No,
it doesn't. It doesn't hold up. It's pretty off color now in 2024. But I remember the kid got everything he wanted. He was completely spoiled out of his mind, and that's what I have in my head is that that Woody Johnson is just giving this to his son as a toy. Here you go. You can play with the franchise today.
Did you see the picture of the son, Brick, and your girl Taylor Swift?
No.
That's another thing as part of this article. Like, he's got his arm around. Like, how do you even get your hands on Taylor Swift? Like,
people have been sued for less.
Yes.
People have been sued for less.
I guess she's probably thinking, oh, it's just a kid here.
He's a teenager? Yeah. So he's doing all of this for the gram. He's doing all of this for clout. He's chasing likes. He's doing it for clout. Well, good. Woody Johnson giving his kid a franchise and lots of likes on Instagram.
I know it was a great show today if the music is telling us to wrap it up. And I feel like we could go like another few hours.
It was a lot of fun. Take of the year is always a lot of fun in the sports bar, and we now begin the search for 2025's Take of the Year. Appreciate Dan DeLorean for all of his help in getting us squared away and set up for today's special episode. We're off tomorrow. We're back on Monday. We'll have a reaction to Bills and Patriots. We're expecting a Bills blowout, but we'll get to that on Monday. JR Sport Brief is next. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to The Fan Rochester.